Welcome to this week's episode of the Dirt Subies podcast. We are recording right now from Alaska. I'm on a work trip right now. Been working 12-hour days, been super busy. We got a big event going on. So I'm up here with my company. I got a regular 9 to 5, but that's not going to stop us from getting this episode out for you guys. Even if I got to do my editing late at night, that's what we're going to do. So we're still going to get this out for you. Now, I want to introduce our very wonderful, special, fantastic guest, Chris. And I really enjoyed this episode, actually, a lot. Chris, I think if Chris and I had grown up in the same neighborhood as kids, we'd have absolutely been homies. I would love to be able to hang out with him. We live in completely different states, really far away from each other. But if I'm ever in his neck of the woods or vice versa, I feel like he and I are going to get along really, really well. Now, before we jump into the episode, I want to ask a favor from you guys. If you listen to these episodes and you enjoy them, whether it's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, whatever, please follow and subscribe to the channel. If you guys could also do me another favor, and if whatever platform you're listening or watching on allows for comments, bang those comments with the kind of Subaru that you have or the kind of car, even if it's not Subarus, I don't care. Let me know what you're driving and let me know what kind of mods you got. I'd love to know. And as usual, you guys got to check out the Subi and You podcast. If you're not already subscribed to what he's doing over there, he's got a great backlog of episodes you can binge. Make sure you're checking that out. Got to give a huge shout out to my friends over at Melee Design Firm for being sponsors and for supporting the Dirt Subies podcast. And the way that they're doing that is by giving you guys a 10% off discount code. And you can use the code Dirt Subies at checkout on meleedesignfirm.com. You can get battery mounts, battery boxes, and this stuff is used by some of the biggest rally teams. They make strut tower braces for our Subarus. They make, oh gosh, tie downs, battery boxes. They sell batteries. They got all the good stuff to keep you guys powered up on the trail. So if you want to support what we're doing, like I said, it's Dirt Subies. Just use that at checkout. You get 10% off, which is a really good discount on a lot of these batteries. You're just not going to get that kind of a deal anywhere. Now, without any more babbling from me, let's get into this episode with the homie Chris. Chris, good to meet you, dude.
Likewise, man.
Long time in the making, man. I appreciate you taking a little bit of time to do this. This is sick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man. I was wondering if you could just start out by telling everybody what kind of car you got.
Yeah, so I've got right now, it's a 2021 Subaru Forester Sport trim. So I believe it's the same one as Derek's unpaved BMW. So
I think so.
that's what we're rocking with right now. It's actually my second Subaru. So yeah.
What was the last one?
The last one was my first car.
Okay.
First vehicles ever were motorcycles, and then I got into the cager, if you will.
Okay.
First one was a 2004 WRX wagon, bone stock, turbo.
Okay.
I think it was the 2.0 2-liter. You know,
sounds about right.
Yeah. So started with that one, and that thing stayed stock for a couple weeks, maybe. I don't know how old I was when I got that. Definitely a teenager still. And it's like, oh, it's got a turbo. Okay, cool. Yeah, we're doing all the things to it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
What year did you say that was?
2004.
Oh, dude, blob eyes are like easily one of my favorite.
Yeah,
one of my favorite. That's just like the iconic Subaru muscle car to me is like blob eye WRX, blob eye STI. So good choice.
yeah, definitely. Yep. Yeah, the boxer motor, the Subi Rumble is what started everything. I mean, like the second I heard one of those, I was like, that's what I'm getting. I'm getting a Subaru for sure.
So I still remember the first Subaru or first WRX that I ever saw and like took note of. What was your hook in your case? What was it?
I think it was honestly Colin McRae, the 555 number on the side. Watching rally racing, and I don't even know if YouTube was a thing when I saw it, but just seeing him rip that thing around, and I'm like, what is this, dude? Like, what's going on here? And I vaguely remember watching X Games a lot and
Mhm.
seeing, seeing
Dave
the
Mirra.
Subarus there. Yep, Dave Mirra
Yeah.
rocking them, and
RIP.
yeah, right. Ah, man. But I think it was a lot of the rally racing that I was like, super interested in, like trying to watch, like what is this stuff? They're on dirt and they're hauling it around corners and stuff. And it was always like a Subaru that just was catching my attention. So, it might have been like what a RS or a
Yeah,
GC
a
that hit
GC8. Yeah.
GC8. Yeah.
Yeah, that I think that was like I don't remember if it was two-door or four-door, but yeah, man, that
Mhm.
was like, the flagship there for a minute.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was the first one that I saw, and I was just, and then a clock, all those, wrapped, cars at the X Games and stuff. I was just like, "Man, these Subarus are sick." And I think that's probably what kinda spurred it, and then, eventually just got me looking at them.
Yeah, dude, there's really nothing like the Boxer Rumble. Like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
still I still remember seeing, and this would have been when they were still on showroom floors. It was, a Bug-Eye WRX, and I saw some dude, I was a kid, and I saw him dragging, like, another, like, do you remember those neon SRT4s or whatever
Yeah,
they were? Those
yeah, buddy had one in high school. Yep.
okay. They're
Yep.
they're just like they're not really worth owning today, but, at the time, saw, like, a World Rally Blue WRX Bug-Eye sedan, and I remember hearing that sound. I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
that's sick."
Yeah. Yeah.
Man.
Those things are gnarly front wheel drive, right? Like,
Yeah.
just,
Uh-huh.
the craziest, they had my buddies had, he had a bunch of stuff done to it, but man, it had a crazy exhaust with, like, the gnarliest turbo noises, I feel like,
I
on
love
those little
that.
SRTs. I was like, "This is crazy." He had the whole thing turbo flutter going on. I didn't know what
Mhm.
any of that meant, but I just knew it meant it sounded cool.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I just love them. Let's see, probably been driving them for almost 20 years, and I just can't ever bring myself to own something or at least have one at all times. Typically it's
Yeah.
2. I got 2 Subarus and a Jeep at the moment, but dude, you just can't beat all-wheel drive and 25
Oh, it's the
miles a
best.
gallon.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I was still getting 25, on
Yeah.
mine, but, the all-wheel drive, definitely.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah.
here in Colorado with all the snow and stuff in the winters, it's just been a game changer. Love it. Absolutely
Mhm.
love it.
Yeah, I was doing a lot of snowboarding, and that was when I was like, "Okay, I really gotta get one of these." Because 'Cause I'd go up there on these days where there'd be, like, 2 feet of fresh
Yeah,
and see these fools rolling up in, like, their Hawkeyes and Blob Eyes, and man, they're not even running studded tires, like, they're
right.
just up
They're
here
just
getting it
cruising
in.
up.
Yeah, yeah, like, no problems at all.
Yeah.
What happened with that Blob Eye?
So, if I
That's
remember
how all
right,
good stories start, so
yeah, so there I was. Um, the short is I blew the motor 3 times, and the last thing I remembered of is my dad suggested we just take it to Mexico and drop it off somewhere and let someone have it, but because it ended up being quite the headache, but, I had it for a couple years and it went through I went through, I'd say, like, probably 2 phases with it. When I first got it, it was like I was throwing all the, white line sway bars on it,
Mhm.
looking at maybe lowering it, getting some better on-road handling. Um, you know, I think the very first thing I ever did was taking the axle back off so I could hear the Subi
Okay.
rumble. But
Yes, dude.
yeah, so I tried to make it a little bit more road, um, the drivability on road, a little bit better and have fun with it that way.
Okay.
And then I got interested in, off-road with it. So we ended up lifting it on I say lifting, but we put, Forester struts and, springs on it. I don't even remember where I read that, maybe on, and
Naziok, probably.
I was just about to say, I was like, "I'm gonna say this wrong because I remember that also being a debate on what you call that site, but that was where I saw it, I'm pretty sure, and they're like, "Yeah, you can just these things are plug and play." So I found some on Craigslist or something and threw them in there, it got lifted. Um, when it was all said and done, um it had a, 2.5 block on it, 2.0
Mhm.
heads, we had cams in it, running
Oof.
E85, uh, full full NVIDIA catless exhaust up pipes was I think probably Grimspeed catless.
Okay.
Man, huge injectors to run E85, and we just port and polish the TD04 turbo, trying
There
to
you go.
squeeze every little bit out of that thing. And I just I just drove it like crazy, and through a rod. I think the first time, second time I think we bent some valves, and then the last time was I road tripped. I was living here in Colorado and road trip back to San Diego, where I'm from, and we were on E85 out here in Colorado. I think I had been on E85 solely for about a year because I had E85 stations super close.
Okay.
Um, and I remember talking to the tuner out here, and it's like, hey, maybe let's if we can like get a 91 map going. I'll roll with that for about a week before we leave. So I'm not having to like, because my plan was to take like a whole bunch of jerry cans and um, just get myself to an E85 station to
Yes.
get to Southern California, and get E85
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we put that map on, and it ran great for like a week, and then like the day I left, it started running rough and misfiring, and not getting happy. And the closer I got to San Diego, the worse it ran. And it quite literally got to my parents' house where I grew up. I pulled up there and it just died. And it didn't stop. Didn't start again. And
Oh
and then
man.
it was done. So I think all in all, I think I had it for probably about 4 years, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Did you ever have any transmission issues with I know the 5 speeds? No, nothing.
nothing. Nah,
Cool.
nothing on
Cool.
nothing on the transmission, just all motors.
Oh.
And that's probably my own doing. I mean, I was not nice to it.
Yeah, I know that those transmissions are notorious. Like they call them like the glass transmissions or whatever for the
Really? I
WRX.
never heard
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Man,
you must just have good driving habits.
maybe. Yeah, well, let's call it that. That's
Yeah,
better.
we'll attribute it to you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, what year was it that you did that Forester suspension lift on it?
Man, it might have been like 2017 or 2018,
Okay,
I wanna
okay.
say.
Yeah, so you were still a little early to the party, compared
Yeah.
to a lot of folks. Most people didn't even figure out about lifting these cars until, the big old C word hit.
Yeah, and even then, I don't think I was, it was like it felt very surface level. I was just like, "Oh, this is a way to kinda lift it up," and I definitely was not. I wasn't like kind of getting entrenched into the off-road scene back then. Even like I was taking it out off-road and getting it places it shouldn't have been taking it really out here in Colorado. But I still wasn't like really focused on off-roading in the Subaru yet. So yeah, I kind of put the suspension on there, and that was pretty much it. That's all it had. And it had some General Grabber um, AT2s, I want to say,
Mhm.
on there. Somehow got those things to fit, but yeah.
Dude, that's such a good setup though. Like lifted blob eyes are so gangster. I mean, I hate seeing them get used because I'm like, oh no, not a piece of history getting beat up on the
Yeah,
trails. But at the same
man,
time,
I
it's
wouldn't have done. Yeah, it
yeah.
was cool looking, but it was, yeah, that looking back at it, because I have pictures when it was bone stock, and
Hmm.
I think it's on my Instagram even, and then to when it was in its last state, and it's just completely different,
Yeah.
like crazy hacked up.
What was it that kind of got you into the whole like, because back then in 2017, like I said, nobody was really doing it. I
Mhm.
mean, there were a few people, but it was like, we got laughed at and stuff.
Sure,
Uh,
yeah.
what kind of got you into that, mindset of like, hey, instead of slamming this thing, I'm going to lift it?
Yeah, I think it's honestly, I think a lot of the hobbies that I have naturally take me outside, whether it's
Hmm.
mountain biking, rock climbing, photography out and in the wilderness and whatever the case may be. Th- I f- I think at the time when I had that, I was sleeping in the back of it, so I was like, "Oh, this is cool. I can camp and sleep in the back of it. Why don't I make it so it's a little bit more capable and can get me a little bit further?" Um, I think when I was out here in Colorado, because I moved out here in 2014. So, oh man, yeah, I came out here when I was 2014 in 2014. So actually, it was even before that I did the Forester. No, I take that back. It's 2015. So it was
Okay.
2015 when I put the springs and struts on, because it
Oh,
was a year
wow.
after I came here, because I didn't lift it
Okay.
until I came out here. And I think
Okay.
that's, yeah. Look at that.
Okay.
We're jogging my own memory here.
Okay, so yeah, you really are, because that's about the time I did it. 2013, 2014, I think, was the first time I did one. So yeah, we were just, going off what we could find in the forums, man. That's crazy.
Yeah. So I think that was kind of it. I think that's all I recall even seeing. I don't remember seeing, if there was strut spacer lifts out there back then, I probably would have done that too for sure. I mean, I was 25 at the time, so I would have done anything and not really thought twice about it. Just like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
let's do it all. I didn't know much about anything when it came to that, so it's just like, get this
Yeah.
thing as high as I can.
Yeah, I
I don't even
think
know if I did an alignment after.
that's wild,
Yeah, I was
but it's
thinking
sick.
about that recently. I'm like, yeah, that thing was probably all jacked up.
Just chewing through
Yeah,
tires like nobody's
yeah,
business. Let those front tires eat, man.
yeah, yep, that's it.
Yeah, I think, back at that time, I know there are some OG companies that I'm not real familiar with. I think by that time, Patrick was making a couple parts, but it was, like, very, very minimal, like,
Okay.
ADF. I don't even know if they had a site up until later, but I know Sumo Parts made some stuff, but none of these companies, they're all real small, and they didn't know, and nobody really knew anything about SEO back in 2014, 2015. So even
Mm,
if you search for Subaru lift kits, you're not gonna
yeah.
get anything. So
Yeah, it seemed definitely like, on the forums or word of mouth. I did join a Subaru club when I first came out here. So I think eventually I started to see a couple people that were probably doing the same thing. Um, and I probably got a little bit of help from some people in that club too. But
yeah, that man, and that seems to be like the biggest game changer for a lot of people is finding, a group of people that have been through it.
oh yeah, totally. Yeah, like, oh, I did this the wrong way. Don't do that.
Yeah,
I mean, that
yeah,
stuff's
exactly.
invaluable. Yeah,
Yeah, I can save in 30 seconds what would take me like a year to figure out on my
totally.
own.
Yep,
Well,
absolutely.
dude, by the way, did you I know you said you used to surf, but did you used to skate at all?
Oh, yeah, big time.
Dude, has anybody ever told
Yeah.
you you look almost identical to John Cardiel?
No.
Dude, you look so much like John Cardiel, it's crazy.
No, that's the
Even the
first I've ever heard that.
Oh, for real? Yeah, you got the flat
Yep,
bill hat and all that. That's sick,
there you go.
dude. We c we'll just retitle this and say we did a podcast with John Cardiel.
Oh, yeah, that'll get the clicks for sure.
Yeah, a bunch of pissed off people like, "Hey, this is stupid. I don't wanna talk about Subarus."
Yeah, well, hey, you said it in the beginning, there might be some content that's not quite super related. It's like
Exactly.
skateboarding, man.
Dude, I
Oh,
miss
yeah,
doing
dude.
that stuff. I'm real heavy now. Like, I used to weigh like 130 pounds. I'm 6 feet tall, and now I'm like I lost 30 pounds recently, but still at like 199, give or take.
Yeah, yeah.
Makes me wanna
Yeah,
get
dude,
back
our
on the board.
our bones aren't as flexible and
Y
bouncy, the older we get.
You're telling me, dude.
Yeah, it
It's the
hurts a little
worst.
bit more.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
still have a skateboard though. I got it in
Me
my
too.
garage. I got a coworker, buddy who lives literally down the street. That's the way I get
Yeah.
around.
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah, I still
Yep.
got that 8.6 freaking 8 and a quarter Indy trucks, or no, 8 and a half Indy trucks. Man, I still
Yeah.
get on it occasionally and see if I can kickflip.
Yep, yeah, that's the measuring stick right there. Can I still kickflip? If
Yeah,
you can do
yeah.
that, you're like, "All right, we're doing good."
More often than not, it's a negative,
Yeah.
but it's all good.
Yeah,
Well, that's,
screw it, we're just gonna shove it.
yeah, exactly. Front side shove it, backside shove it, let's
Yeah.
go. Let me ask you a little bit about the current setup.
Yeah.
What kind of I mean, obviously, your other car sort of blew up.
Mhm.
Um, did you have any, I guess, just like your shopping process at the time? Did you go without a car for a little bit and then decide to buy it, or did you go straight from the WRX to the Forester, or what was kind of just your motivation for getting into that car?
Yeah, so after the after the Subaru died, at the time I was working as a wildland firefighter with the Forest Service out here. So um, that gave me a decent amount of cash. So I was able to get into something pretty quick after that. I
Okay.
ended up not getting into a Subaru right then. I ended up getting a Tacoma. Um, and I had the Tacoma for, I think it was like 4.5, 5 years before I got
Okay.
this.
Gotcha.
Um, so yeah, Tacoma, and then I've had this Forester just over a year now. December was a year
Okay.
since I've had it. But yeah, so there was a couple years with a Tacoma before this one, which
You
definitely
left.
inspired a lot of the stuff that I'm doing now.
Yeah,
But
you left and came back.
yep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Was there, was there anything with the Tacoma? I mean, I guess I got a couple questions.
Yeah.
What caused you to leave the Tacoma and come back over to the Subaru platform? And then was there anything else that you were considering purchasing while you were looking at the Forester?
Yeah. So yeah, I had the Tacoma, and I love that thing. It was awesome. It kind of fit everything that I was looking to do. All the off roading and
Mhm.
getting out and exploring a lot of Colorado, and I think that's definitely what got me more into the off road and um, kind of started that whole overlanding bug. That big buzzword out there. that Everyone's we're all obsessed with and stuff.
Oh,
But
yeah.
did all of that in the Tacoma and saw quite a bit of, did quite a bit of things in it and lots of trips. But what happened was a little over a year ago, I got rear ended and it bent the rear subframe. And apparently Toyota is like, I mean, it was the smallest bend, and Toyota was like, no, we're not touching it, or nobody can touch it. It's totaled. So they
Yeah.
totaled the truck, and
Okay.
I was like, oh geez, okay, go through insurance. The way it worked out was there was a person behind me, and then the person behind him rear-ended him, and he hit me. So insurance was like, we got to divvy up all the money between the two of you guys, and you
Okay.
know they essentially weren't able to give me what I think the truck was worth, and I had all kinds of stuff on it. I mean, it was really kitted out and ready to rock. But that gave me a little bit of pause. I was running like kind of a side business from my full-time job at the time, driving that Tacoma around everywhere with it being lifted on huge tires and stuff. It was not fuel efficient whatsoever. And and I was just like started to think like, okay, realistically, do I need this truck? Is there something I can do instead? And I got the dollar sign from the insurance, which wasn't enough to replace the Tacoma or even come close to getting a like model. But the cool thing was that I was gonna able to keep that and have a salvage title on the truck. And at the same time, actually one of my battalion chiefs at my job, he's like, "Hey man, my son would love that truck. Why don't we give you boom boom X dollar?" And I was like, okay, that sounds pretty cool. So combining that with what insurance gave me, I was like, all right, I might be able to get
Yeah.
something new, and I literally sat down and like talked to my girlfriend. I'm like, all right, let's be mature about this. Let's be an adult. Do I really need a truck right now? Should I get something smaller, but still capable off road? And I did a Venn diagram,
There we go.
pros and cons, did the whole thing and weighed it out. And I was like, you know what? I think I'll look at doing this deal and seeing what I can find. I am, for some reason, I immediately was looking at a Subaru again,
Mhm.
because of my experience with the past. Even though it's I blew the motors on that that wagon a few times. Otherwise, the car was awesome. My girlfriend at the time had couldn't tell you, probably an '09 Crosstrek, or a little bit later.
Oh,
I don't know if they
one
were
of the
even out. It was
early.
one of the early model
Okay, yeah.
Crosstreks,
Yeah, first gen.
and yeah, and she really liked it. My dad has a WRX. I think it's a 2018
Okay.
WRX. So Subarus had just kept like lingering, they were still there.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, all right, cool. Let's see what I can afford or what's out there. And I think a Toyota RAV4 came up for a minute, and the
Mhm.
Forester. And then
Okay.
I started to look at the two and immediately was like, ah, no. gonna stick with the Subaru. And then yeah, just kind of realized that the Forester, it was just one day, it just ding, light bulb went off. I was like, this thing's perfect. I think it's gonna do everything I need it to do. Um, Checked him out at the dealership on a couple used ones, and literally was like, hey, I want to fold the seats down. I want to lay in the back.
Hey,
Cause
there
like
you
this is,
go.
I was like, I
Yeah,
want
that's
to
what
be
you're
able to sleep in
doing.
the back here. Yep. I was
Yeah,
like,
man.
I'm putting my girlfriend and the dog and we're sleeping in the back of this. I'm not buying this if I can't fit and we can't make this work.
That's
So I
so
did that.
sick.
And I was like, cool, this fits. And then that was the first time I saw the inside of the interior and stuff. And I was like, dang, this is nice in here. Like it was
Yeah,
a pretty good looking vehicle. And
interior. Yeah.
yeah, and I
What
was like, that's it.
Yeah, I love that, man. And I love that you actually were like, "Let me fold the seats down and hop in."
Yeah. And the cool thing was they were like, yeah, oh yeah, do it. I mean,
Yeah.
it was like they knew what was up.
And just for reference, how tall are you?
I am 5'9".
Okay. Okay, yeah, I'm always shocked. Even like the later model ones, they have like a different rear suspension setup that
Hmm.
gives you even more rear cargo space because they don't have the huge strut towers that come in the back.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yep.
but I'm always shocked that even in the OG like SG Foresters, like what I have, I can lay in the back of that thing and go to
Yeah.
sleep. And I'm 6 feet tall, which is I mean we're pretty close, you know. Got a
Hmm.
little bit of got a little bit of headroom still, and
Yeah.
it's good to
Yep.
go. How does it sleep both of you guys? Is it pretty comfy?
Yeah, at first it was more comfortable. Now I've crammed so much stuff on the inside to make it it's definitely set up for myself, like for efficient out there, you know, I kind of
Yeah,
fold the one side down because I've got the ADF headliner rack in there. Um,
perfect.
yeah, and that kind of sits down a little bit low. I think I mean, honestly, that's the only thing that really like makes it feel like it's a little bit cramped. But
Okay.
for the most part, yeah, I'm using a Luno is a company. They make
Yeah,
a
air
form fitting
mattress.
mattress. Yep.
Yeah,
So
those are
I use that.
sick.
Dude, they're awesome. That thing's been a game changer. So when the two of us are in there, there's plenty of room, and even with our dog, like there's
Okay.
tons of room. It's
Dude, that's
not cramped.
that's crazy. That
Yeah.
yeah, I've never had two people sleep in mine. Um, no, that's absolutely wild, and I think a lot of people would like to hear that too.
Yeah.
Because it's just shocking, man, when you get in those cars, how much
Yep.
headroom they've got, just how
Yeah.
spacious they are, you know. And I think the Forester, everybody just immediately gets hooked on the brand because of the Crosstrek, but they never
Hmm.
consider. I think the Forester is like one of the sickest platforms, like
Yeah.
hands down, dude.
Yeah, I'm surprised I don't see more of them myself. I know there's tons of cross treks out there. My
Hmm.
girlfriend has uh, I believe hers is a 2024 Crosstrek. She got one shortly
Okay,
after I got the Forester. She was like
sick.
traded the old Crosstrek in, got that one. It's a silver Crosstrek Sport too. So
Okay,
like they're literally when in the garage side by side, they're almost like twins. You know, it's pretty
yep,
cool.
I
But
love that.
it's a lot smaller in hers. You know, we haven't camped in hers. We actually camped in her old one in Washington one year when we
Okay,
went out there. And comparing that to the Forester, it was much, you know, it was a lot more cramped. So the
yeah.
Forester was the way to go, I think, for at least the stuff that I do and wanted.
Yeah, and I'm always shocked too. I mean, because there is a price difference, but it's really not that hard to get into a Forester versus a Crosstrek.
Hmm.
Um, but the Crosstrek is just like it's just got like they knew what they were doing when they designed it.
Yeah,
They were like, "This is going to bring new people into the brand," and it
totally.
worked. I can't say anything about it.
Yeah, I do remember seeing. Was it the first year when they had the orange color?
Yeah, first and second gen.
I remember seeing that, and I was like, "Oh, that's a pretty cool looking car. What is that thing?" You know, and
Yeah.
I think that's why my girlfriend like looked for it because she's just like,
Okay.
Yeah, that is cool."
Yeah, it's like a love it or hate it thing, you know?
Yeah, yep,
But it's eye catching. Doesn't matter if you hate the color, you still turn your head and look at it, you know, even if it's not
yeah.
your cup of tea. When you bought that thing, were you already planning to lift it, or was it just
Hmm.
something where okay, so that was already kind of on the
Yeah.
brain?
Yep, definitely. Yeah,
Sick.
if you ask my coworkers, they're gonna have a different story because it probably went something like, "I'm not gonna do too much. It's gonna be fine." because they saw the Tacoma and the way that was, and yeah, that didn't last long.
It's pretty easy, man, to just, because you'll see a photo of one, and when you see a photo of a car that's modified, you don't really see all the things behind the scenes that have to be done to modify a car, like,
Yeah,
I'm sure
definitely.
you probably ran into that with the Tacoma, because then it gets even more crazy when you got four-wheel drive and you're,
Yep.
like, "Oh, is that coil sprung all the way around, or is it leaf in the
It
rear?"
it's a leaf in the rear. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, it just gets wild when you're like, "Oh, now I gotta get shims
Yep.
for the rear leafs." I gotta get some sort of, and I don't know how those are set up, but it's like with Jeeps, it's like, "Oh, now I gotta get a slip yoke eliminator kit so that my driveline
Yeah.
angles can be corrected." And then I gotta spend $800, $500, whatever it is, on a custom drive shaft. And
Yeah. Totally.
you you blink and you're like, "Oh, there went 8 grand."
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy how wild it gets, man.
Yeah. Let me ask you about the mods that you've done on the Forester. What,
Mhm.
like, lift kit are you running? What kind of tires and wheels you got on there? Can you just kind of give people a rundown of what you've done to the thing?
Yeah. So, starting from the wheels, or the wheels are LP Adventure 17-inch LP1s. Super. I found those, and it's funny. I think I found out afterwards. I ended up getting them from Robert Champion, I think, because I bought them off
Okay.
Facebook Marketplace. They showed up there,
Man,
and crazy
okay,
deal going on.
that name sounds familiar. Why do I know that name?
I mean, he's got a Forester, he's got a Crosstrek that's really done him. I mean, I he's got a pretty big following, I think, and is tied with a lot of. I think he's tied with the Subi events,
Okay.
in some way or another.
Lem
I tried reaching out to him a couple times, being like, "Hey, man, I think I bought your wheels," and um, but didn't hear back. But
Okay.
yeah,
Oh, okay,
yeah,
yeah, I'm
Robert
following
Champion.
him. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, I know who this is. Yeah, he's got the crazy, uh, SG. That
yeah,
thing's
yep,
out of control. Okay, that's how I
yep,
know that name. Okay. Sorry, continue,
yeah.
man. I didn't mean to cut you
No,
off.
you're good. Yeah, so I got those Facebook deal. And right now I'm running the KO2s.
Nothing wrong with that.
Had
It's a great tire.
Yeah. I mean, I had them on my Tacoma. I eventually went to General Grabbers, and I really liked the Grabbers, the AT2s. They didn't make those in the right size that I was looking for the
Okay.
Forester. And I've had a lot of experience with that tire. And 100% there's like an aesthetic appeal to it, for sure.
Nothing
Um,
wrong with that, man.
yeah, but I before I had the, Wild Peak, trails on
Okay.
there when I first bought the Forester, and I've never had more flats, than, and whether
Yeah,
that was my luck or the tire itself, but I was like, I'm not having a good experience with these tires, so let's do KO2. Had a really good experience with those. So far, those have been working just fine, and,
perfect.
I had those on the WX wagon too, for a full life cycle of those,
Mhm.
and, use those in the winter and the snow, and so I was like, "Okay, had them on the WX wagon, had them on the Tacoma, they've been good, let's try them again on the Forester," and, next
Good
time
choice.
around, probably gonna check out Milestar, been hearing a
Yeah.
lot about them. So,
Oh,
um
absolutely.
yeah, we'll
Yeah.
see.
Can you talk a little bit about I mean, I know there's other stuff, but before I forget, because I'm just gathering data for my own knowledge.
Sure.
What kind of flats did you get with the AT trails? Were they sidewall punctures or
Yeah.
okay,
They were mostly sidewall punctures, and I think 2 of them I had w like nails or sharp objects, like, right on that sidewall kinda shoulder of the tire.
okay,
Just the perfect spot where discount's like, "Yeah, we can't do nothing about it."
yeah,
And then I did have a sidewall tear, I think, on that
okay,
as
okay,
well. So nothing in the middle, didn't, like, nothing, was delaminating by any means. So
okay,
again, I can't really say that I can knock the tire too much. But it's just one of those things where I was like, "Oh, I tried a different tire, had all these incidents come up, so I was like, maybe we'll look at something different." But
yeah. I From what I understand, it's essentially um, like a remolded all season for all intents and
okay,
purposes,
yeah,
as far as like the load rating and everything of it.
hmm,
It's a great.
because there's a lot of people that they daily drive their cars and they're not actually going and hitting, super rocky trails. And for that person, it's absolutely great. But I
Yeah.
can't tell you how many people I've helped repair tires from, different sidewall failures and stuff in those once they actually get out into the business.
Yeah. Yep. Totally.
But those KO2s have been treating you pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. So far, they're working fine. Kind of nothing new from my past experience with them. So they're just rolling along. They're noisy, but that's what
It's
you
a
what you get.
Yeah,
You want to
it's an
play.
LT. It's an
Yeah.
LT all terrain, man.
Yep.
Yeah, and a lot of people will say like, "Oh, the KO2 is a heavy tire," and it is, but it's only heavy because it's not available in like P metric. It's only available in LT,
Mm,
and when you compare it apples to apples, it's actually lighter than all the LT stuff. From like
yeah.
Falcon or Toyo or whoever. It's either
Yeah.
like on par or a little bit lighter. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's a big debate in the
Yeah.
Subaru
Of
community. You either love
course.
them or you hate them.
Yep. Yep. There's got to be
Yeah,
those things.
absolutely. And then what are you doing for a lift kit in that car?
Yeah, so for the lift right now, we're still on the, stock struts.
Okay.
We have, Rally Tech spacers, so
Okay.
rear the rear is, the 2.5 spacer,
Mhm.
front is I believe it's the 2-inch in the front,
Yeah.
and then we put the overloads in the rear and not the if I can remember right, it's not the sport springs in the front, it's just their half-inch lift springs. I don't remember I don't think they're marketed as overload springs.
Gotcha.
But I went with the half just I figured those are gonna be a little bit stiffer than the
Mhm.
stock. Because after I put the overloads on, the front end was just I was still feeling the same kind of thing out on the trail that's just bouncing all over, not settling nearly as quick over bumps and whatnot. And
Mhm.
granted, the valving and the stock struts, I wish is something that I want to do in the future. I think the rebound could be, addressed just a little bit, but um, I'm sticking with the stock struts for now. But yeah, so stock struts, Rally Tech springs and spacer lift, and that's pretty much it. Keeping it
Okay.
pretty simple for now.
Well, that's a good setup, man. It's in my opinion, it gets a little too crazy sometimes. People trying to,
Yeah,
spend $4,000 on coilovers or whatever.
yeah,
Gets
they're nice. There's a guy that lives pretty local here who has the flat out suspension. I forget exactly
Mhm.
what model. Uh, Coilovers, and it rode really nice. And I was like, ah, man, that's cool. But there's the price point, and I also had King suspension on the Tacoma and ran into
Mhm.
the whole issue that you don't think about. It's like spherical bearings in the bottom there. I had those things wear out within, I think it was 70,000 miles. That it just tore up the bottom of the strut mount from
Mm.
that bearing just getting all loose.
Yeah.
So I had to repair that, and that was kind of a pain. And I was like, you know what, just I want to keep it a little bit more simple because it's working right now, and I don't really want to have to worry about lubing up bushings and doing
Yeah.
periodic maintenance, at least at this point.
I totally get that, man.
More moving parts.
Yeah, yeah. And have you experimented with, because anytime you do a lift spring or an overload spring, they're both gonna be stiffer. Because I think they get the lift in the front ones that you have. I think
Mhm.
you get the lift with a slightly stiffer spring rate. I think that's how I could be totally
That's how
wrong.
I understood it too.
Okay. Have you experimented with airing down at all to kind of get rid of some of that off-road chatter?
I mean, I do air down pretty much every time I go off road in general.
Okay.
Um, for being on the trail, we're airing down all the time. Are you referring to like maybe just at a constant, like when I'm driving in the city, or
No, just on the trails.
yeah, no, on the trails I'm definitely airing down every time I
Perfect.
go. It,
Okay.
if I need more traction, we'll go much lower, but most of
Okay.
the time I'm 22.
Okay.
23 psi or so for comfort, really.
Okay. Well, that's what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask
Yeah.
you your go-to pressures.
Yeah, the go-to is definitely about, I'd say 22, 23-ish, and
Okay.
then we can go down from there if we need traction, get into some tricky stuff, but I call
Yeah.
that the comfort pressure. So
Yeah, yeah. And what tire size did you do? Did you do the 245/65 that a lot of
yeah,
people run? Okay.
yep,
Okay. A little bit of rubbing in the front.
yep. Yeah, a little
Okay.
bit of rubbing initially. I was able to resolve most of that by just heating up the fender liners, push
My
them out of the
man.
way. Yeah,
Speaking my language.
yep. Just, with a heat gun there,
Yeah.
naturally, I'd go out in the neighborhood and turn the wheel full
Mhm.
lock, left, right, get it to rub a whole bunch so I could,
Get your
essentially
marks.
mark up the
Yep.
fender liner. So I was like, "Cool, I know exactly where to work." That got most of the way, and then I did have some issues with it rubbing, when I was reversing in, like, full lock on my, mud flaps. So I had to kinda cut the mud flaps just a little bit on the
Okay.
inside. But that
Okay.
was really about it. I'm getting full
Perfect.
articulation, full locks. I mean, everything and nothing's rubbing anymore at all.
Okay.
So
Um Yeah, no, you're speaking my language. You're my kind of dude. I just take it out. I let God sort it out for a couple
yeah,
minutes,
yep,
and then I go back and do some
yep,
hammering.
exactly, dude.
No,
Yeah,
okay, that'll be super helpful for a lot of people because there's a ton of people running. What is it? SK? Is that the gen we're on now, or
yeah,
that
yep.
you're running the SK?
That I'm on, yeah. I don't know what the
Yeah,
new
yeah.
generation is.
Some other letter in the alphabet. Maybe
Yeah,
they switched it
right?
up on us.
Yeah.
Um, let me ask you real quick. I got other questions about your mods, but for airing down, what kind of a kit do you carry with you? Do you have like a valve core tool, and then do you have like a an inflator?
Yeah, so I was using, an ARB easy deflator is what they
Hmm.
called.
I got one of
Um
those.
Yep, and it's awesome. You screw it in, take the valve core out with it,
Hmm.
and air down there. I since switched away from those and went to the Stans tire deflators.
Even
Those things have
better.
been they're a little tricky to get the pressure set. I don't think I've quite nailed it. Like I used a spare tire and
Okay.
spent like a little bit of time airing up that spare, airing it down to the pressure that I wanted, and then setting each one individually.
Okay.
Um, and it's got me pretty close, but I do find that I have a little bit of a variance. Like I think I set it to be about 20 psi,
Okay.
but I like those because you literally just
All
take
at
your valve cap,
once.
screw them on, and by the time you make that lap around, you're unscrewing them and
Yeah.
putting your valve caps back on, and you're done.
Yep.
More often than not, though, because I haven't gotten it quite nailed down, is I'm just using one. Like I'll just screw in one, deflate it, and I'll
Okay.
watch it on the dashboard, and then I'll just go to the next tire and do like that. But you can do
Okay.
it either way. But that's been my method now.
Yeah. I've got that ARB easy deflator, and I like it in the snow because I'm a real dirt bag. I typically just pop the cores all the way out, and it's
Yeah.
not uncommon for them to shoot out into the snow.
Yep. Oh,
And I
totally.
like that it contains everything, but you're right, it takes forever and you can only do one at a time. I mean, it's faster than sticking a key in there,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah,
Definitely.
those little easy deflators. I've got some that they're they're not set. You can't set them to a specific pressure, but you just screw them on and it starts deflating them. Like you said, by the time you get make your way around, it's time to start pulling them off.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I kinda went with that because they were just they're a lot smaller, and I was
Hmm.
just trying to, save space. That's kind of like my biggest thing with the Forester is making it livable on the inside and having things, so I'm always trying to find ways to, like, can I make this smaller?
Yeah,
It's got its own little home that I always go to, and the easy deflator was taking up too much room, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll try these out a little bit
yeah.
quicker?"
And you got the good ones too, man. A lot of people will buy like the cheapo Amazon knockoffs, and
Mhm.
they're just not the same.
Yeah.
The legit, I can't, are they made in like Germany or something like that?
I think it's Australia, actually.
Okay. I knew they were made somewhere that wasn't the US and not China. So
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
a plus
Yeah,
sometimes.
and I figured if it's coming from Australia, their off-road
They
culture is heavy out there,
they
so,
get
like,
down, brother.
yeah, like, I'm gonna be happy with this product, I'm sure, and
Yeah.
so far, yeah, they've been great. I mean, you can just tell as soon as you're holding them, you're like, "Oh, this is quality material here."
Yeah. Sometimes the hold test is all you need. You're like, "Oh, this
Yeah,
weighs something." and
Yep.
it feels good. You know, sometimes you really
Yeah.
can't tell between two products which one's going to be better.
Yeah, exactly.
And then,
Yep.
what do you run for an air compressor when you're out there?
Yeah, so I've got a I don't remember the model number, but it's a Smitty built.
Oh, yeah, the 556, whatever it is.
Yeah, I think so. I'd have
Okay.
to look it up again, but I want to say it's like the CFM on it's like 35 or 38 or something like that.
Okay.
Or at least like how much air it's able to flow and
Yeah.
uh you know nice little compact size and I like that it's just kind of remote. I can move it around if I
Yeah.
need to. But I've had that since I got the Tacoma, and that's going on, I think, close to 7 or 8 years that I've had that same compressor, and
Yeah.
that thing has just been a champ. Like
Dude,
not
they're
a single fault.
units.
Yeah,
They
it's been super good.
I think I can't like you said, I can't remember the model number, but I think it's the same, um, I think it's made in the exact same factory in a white labeled version, that Iron Man uses. It's because 'cause it's
Yeah.
got like that dark round handle that's got the
Yep.
holes in it, right?
Yep. Exactly. Yep.
Dude, that is the fastest pump I've ever used.
It's
It
pretty quick.
it
It's
is
surprising.
crazy.
Yeah, like, even at altitude too, like, I've been up in, above 10,000 feet and stuff, and
Mhm.
with the Tacoma that had, I think I had 33s on the Tacoma,
Okay.
and it would pump those things up super fast.
Yeah.
Not a problem at all.
Yeah, I have 35s on the Jeep, which doesn't sound like a lot, but they're 15s, so it's a ton of sidewall,
Oh, man, yeah.
and
That's a lot of air to put in
I
there.
can't believe how quick it just zips those up.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I also have, like, expensive Viair compressors,
Yeah,
which
yep.
are probably a little more reliable, but I have no reason to think that the Iron Man one, which is just a white label version of what you have, I have no reason to think that's ever gonna fail on me.
Yeah.
Been an absolute trooper.
Yeah, the only thing I mean, at this point, because this thing's been so trusty, it's like the day I get rid of it and do something else, I'm gonna have problems, It's like just Murphy's Law there. But
Yeah, or
I
you
wish
just
I could set the pressure and walk away from it. That would be
yeah.
kinda cool, but
Yeah, that's one thing that is always kind of frustrating is checking, taking the thing off, checking again.
yeah, yep,
Just gets irritating, but I usually get pretty close and then just send it home and then
yeah.
sort it out in the garage once I'm out
There's
of
a
the
gas
cold.
station somewhere if you really
Yeah,
need it. You don't wanna pull
exactly,
it back
man.
out.
Well, let me ask you about, I know you've got, a rear tire carrier. I know you got a roof rack on there. I would love to hear about, I mean, because this thing looks like it's about as modified as you can make a Subaru without really doing unnecessary stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Um, man, what all you got on that thing?
Yeah, so like you said, we got the tire carrier on there, the swing out. That's a
Mhm.
I always get the name messed up with rigid armor, I think it is.
Rigged?
It's rigged supply
Yeah.
code that
Yeah.
makes the swing out, but I always in my head I read it as like rigid.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. No,
but
I've
yeah,
talked to the owner of that company. Super cool dude.
yeah,
He is rad. Good
yeah,
dude. They're always trying to improve the design too. So on point. Good
yeah.
choice, man.
It's a unit. It
Yeah.
is. I mean that thing is super cool, and the biggest thing with that was like, just wanted to make sure I carry a full size spare with me because I'm using my, you know, since going to the different wheels and tires, it's bigger, I know there's been some people that have made a full size spare fit in the
Compartment.
spare tire compartment, but I was like,
Yeah.
that's usable space that I want for other stuff. So,
Yeah.
you know, getting that out in the back has been awesome with the swing out and the fact that it can swing out. I mean, that thing has become an absolute Swiss Army knife. I've used it for so many things.
Yeah.
Like it's tie down point for my awning. It's a place to step up and get up on top of the roof if I want to. It carries a road of packs. They make a table that I can put on there at some point if I go that route. Um, it's also a recovery point.
Mhm.
So I've got Overland vehicle system soft shackle hitch on there, as well as it also on the swing out portion has a receiver for a bike rack, so I can throw my
Mhm.
bike. bike rack on there and have the mountain bike with me. It just solves like a lot of issues, or at least it provides a lot of additional value.
A lot of
So
utility. Yeah.
yeah, totally.
Dude, the price tag on those hurts a little bit,
Yeah,
but after
that's for sure.
seeing those versus some of the other stuff that's out there, and it's, as far as I know, it's all manufactured in the US, like,
Yep, that's what
and
they say. Yep.
it's not like a massive operation where they're just outsourcing it to some random factory. It's like legit stuff. So
Yeah.
you did the right the right thing.
Yeah, it's a super nice piece of kit for sure, and the fact
Yeah.
that it was made, here in the US, I'm a big fan of. I love that stuff, especially because everybody starts somewhere. That was a small business at some point, I'm sure, and
Absolutely. They
it's
still are.
yeah, yeah, and it's cool to be a part of that, and
Yeah.
to help out, and yeah, it's just been it's been amazing. I mean, you shut that thing and the whole car moves. It's
Yeah.
nuts.
How did you because most people will just go with like whatever the cheapest thing is. And I know there's a bunch of options now. How did you find that and decide to go with it?
I saw them. So I think I was following his I think his name on Instagram is Taco Dust.
Okay.
I believe he's either one of the owners of the company or he works there. But when I was in the Tacoma world, I was following him because he had a Tacoma
Okay.
and he was showcasing their swing outs. Because
Sick.
I'm pretty sure he's a part of the company. Um,
Okay.
and the thing that sold me was that they had a bike on their swing out on a bike rack, and there was like a dude just jumping on it. Like, and that thing wasn't even moving. And I was just like, cool, that thing's strong. That's pretty
Yeah.
obvious. Um, and I wanted to get one for the Tacoma. And so naturally when I was like, got the Forester, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go with this. Cause I did look at some of the other ones and there just wasn't they weren't ticking enough boxes. I like the fact that they not only do they mount the spare tire, well, the fact that it's a swing out, but you can also throw on, a Rotopax mount. They make something called I think it's called the side hack. It's like this whole extra plate that can come off to the side that you can mount even more things if you wanted to, like if you need it. But they offer the table for it, which is just I just saw a lot of utility
Yeah.
in their product that I didn't see in some others, which I'm sure they would have worked for me. But I really wanted to be able to swing it out because I go in and out of the back all the time.
Yes.
So that was kind of the big thing, was being able to swing that out, and then everything else that was there just kind of a no brainer. But yeah, I
Okay.
had to save a little bit for that.
Yeah, that's what's up, man.
Yeah.
I just looked through my emails. The owner is Luke Ronsky or something like that.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know if he's the Taco Dust guy, but he reached out to me like 3 years ago because I put their swing out carrier in one of the articles that I wrote, and he was like, "Hey, we saw this. This is sick. Like,
Yeah.
thanks, appreciate it." And I I was like, "Hey, can you like shoot me some educational material too so that I understand the product even better?"
Yeah.
Easily one of the coolest guys I've ever talked to. So I'm so stoked that you supported them. Their stuff is tight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask you, are there any other items like that that you have on the build right now that kind of gave you that same feeling as the rig supply carrier?
Yeah, so, a ADF's products, we don't obviously have their lift kit on there, but their headliner panel, kind of the same
Yeah.
deal as like that that solved, the big like some of the biggest aspects about the Forester I find I like the most is like what I've done to the inside of it to make it like
Yes.
efficient and livable. And that
Yeah.
was such a huge part of that, was having that headliner rack. Um, and the fact, again, here in the States, and at the time I kind of was like stoked that I was helping out the company, and then obviously after hearing your podcast with him, like it made it even better. It was just like, this is sweet, dude, hearing the whole story.
Did you
um
listen to that? The one
oh
that
yeah.
he and I Oh,
Oh
sick.
yeah,
Okay.
totally.
Wait, don't tell anybody, but I did another one for this show. So
Yes.
you'll be following his podcast.
Nice,
So
that's awesome. Heck yeah.
that's sick, man. Yeah, he's a good dude.
Yeah.
And he's the only guy. Rally Tech does a lot of R&D, but man, Pat is always out there doing like scans. and being like, oh, we could take this accessory from the taco world and make it work in Subarus. Man, I love that.
Yeah.
Super awesome. And
Yep.
because I love Molly racks. I think they're some of the sickest accessories ever. What do you carry up on that panel?
Yeah, so on one side of it, I kind of keep like a little toiletry bag.
Okay.
So it's just got, toilet paper,
Yeah.
toothbrush, uh, all the things I need for camp, and you just pop it down. And if you need to use the bathroom, you pop that, and you grab the little
Yeah.
shovel, and then bang, you're digging
Boom.
yourself a ditch. I
Yep.
just keep another bag full of extra batteries for the things that I carry that do have batteries, charging cables, and stuff like that.
Okay.
Up on top of it, kind of like where the dome light is, there is like a little bit of space there, and I found it's perfect for like mountain house meals. And
Oh, cool.
so I put a whole bunch of meals up there. I got like 3 days worth of meals that go up there in case I don't want to cook or whatever, and just literally
Okay.
get out of the house. Got a little we call them back when I was doing wildland, we call these things silkies, but they're like a little handsaw.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Fiskars handsaw.
Yeah, I love those.
Thing is awesome, man. I've done some work with one of those things, and
Rad. And you keep
you know,
one of those up on there too?
yep, yeah. So
Okay.
like definitely those spring trips when you're coming out, after the winter, you're getting. I'm sure you guys get a lot
Oh,
where you're at, down
yep.
trees.
Tons.
You'd be surprised what you can clear up. I mean, it's a workout, but in a pinch, you can cut some stuff out of the way, cut some firewood, whatever the case may be. But
Yeah.
got an axe up there too, small Fisker's axe as well. That's
Okay.
strapped up there out of the way, and then just a medical kit that I keep kind of closer to me on the driver's side in case I need it quick. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much it.
Most people don't consider what kind of a pickle you can get in if you're out and a couple trees decide to come down, you get caught in a windstorm. Nobody's
Yep.
going to know you're up there, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that can ruin your day for sure. I mean, like,
Could ruin your week.
yeah, it can cause a lot of problems. I mean, I don't have a winch on it, and I still don't know if that's something I'm ever going to end up doing. But having that uh, soft shackle receiver in the rear, my thought process, if I need to, I can put the recovery strap on something big and pull it out of the way, maybe, and then cut the rest
Yeah.
of the stuff out of the way. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, big enough tree falls out of the way that you came in, and that's your way out. You're hiking.
Yeah. And I mean, it depends on where you're located and how adventurous you are. But man, there's situations out here where a lot of the popular areas, there's so many of them and they're so spread out that you're not going to see other people.
Mhm.
But I mean,
Yep.
you'll be out 30 miles from pavement,
Yeah,
like,
easily. Yeah.
no, thank you. I think I'll carry a small, even if it's a machete, like a machete's not great for, felling trees, but
Yeah.
you won't be freezing to death out in the forest.
Yeah, totally. Yep. I mean, I've been stranded before, and it's one of those things. Sometimes you gotta learn those hard lessons that
Yes.
stick with you forever, and, yeah, redundancy and, backup plans is kinda how I
Yes.
roll.
Yeah. And, I feel like everything that I carry with me now is just a culmination of bad decisions.
Totally, totally, yeah. Yeah, it's like, there's a bad decision behind every piece of gear here, and a story I can tell you and why that's there.
Exactly, man. It's just part of the game, you just kind of get
Yeah.
in, you start learning. But no, I
Yep.
think that was a good point that you brought up there because most people don't think about it. They don't carry
Yeah.
anything to cut down, even a small tree, it's
Yeah.
all it'll take to keep you stuck unless you got some way of yanking it. But
Yeah,
you know,
totally.
and then I want to ask about your roof rack.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what?
so the roof rack is it's a Prinsu,
Okay.
also another, Facebook steal that I got,
Let's go, dude.
yeah, just, I forget what model year it was listed for, but it was if I remember correctly, it was my generation. Not something that you're gonna Facebook Marketplace find, just, like, expect to see it, and it
Yeah.
popped up for just a ridiculous price, brand new. The dude just bought it, never put it on his car, and I was like, "Yeah,
Thank
I'll take
you.
that." 'Cause, I had a basket before that. I had like a Yakima Canyon, I think it was.
Okay.
And it just, it didn't get the job done. I knew there was, because I wanted to sleep in the back of the Forester and have some other stuff that's always in there. I kind of needed to put stuff up on the roof for these trips, so a roof rack was absolutely the way to go,
Yeah. How hard was the install on that?
It wasn't too bad, the whole headliner, everything needed to come down, just to take the nuts off the stock roof rails. That was
Gotcha.
all. That was the only reason you needed to do all of that. So I
Really?
mean, yeah, that was it. Because once the nuts were off the roof rail, because those just have like little studs in them.
Mm-hmm.
You pull that off. You use these things. I think they were called star nuts.
Okay.
To essentially, it's like you slip this this threaded collar into the factory holes, and then you thread this other bolt in there, and it pulls the part of that sleeve that's on the inside of the car. It
Okay.
pulls it up almost like a rivet would, in a way. I got one shot at it, kind of deal. So
Yeah.
get it straight, so it was a little spooky doing that part, but I mean, it worked just fine. So, and putting the rest of the rack up there, and sealed it up with some RTV. I think you
Okay.
used, at least on the Forester, I used every factory hole except for one in the middle that they had you just seal up.
Okay. Now, did you have to use a lot of RTV to get that to kind of seal itself, or how did that go?
I guess the real answer is it remains to be seen, because I haven't dropped the headliner to see if any water's gotten in. So I'm
Well,
assuming I used enough, which it didn't feel like a lot, but
okay.
I probably put a little bit more than I needed to, just because I was like, I don't want that issue,
Okay. Well,
Yeah, but
that
it didn't seem like much.
okay. That's cool that they utilize those. So you don't have to do any drilling now, right? Is that correct?
No,
Oh,
at
cool.
least
Okay.
with their rack, I did not have to.
Okay. I think at one point you did, but that's good to know, because I think a lot of
Oh,
people
you
are
know what?
scared. They're like,
I take that back. I did have to use, I believe, a step bit to widen out, I think,
gotcha.
2 of the holes, and that was it.
Okay. Okay,
But they
gotcha.
made it, like, super easy, they're like, "Use a step bit, you're going to this,
Diameter.
diameter,"
Yeah.
and you just kinda, and it wasn't much too. It was like 2 steps down, just quick little bop, bop, and
Yeah.
it was done.
Okay.
So
What all do you carry up on that thing?
So, at all times, it stays relatively empty. So I've got a lot
Okay.
of mounts up there. So, I don't like, you know, I don't need to drive around with like all the things on the car at all
Yeah,
times. I try to keep
totally.
it pretty low key as I can. But
Me too, man.
yeah, um, there's an awning that lives up there at all times though, because that's just the way it mounts. It's secure when it mounts it, and I don't. It's you're unbolting stuff
Okay.
every time you want to go out, and the awning just gets used. Especially the one that I got recently, it's so easy to use. It's just going to be on the car at all times for sure.
Cool.
Other than that, um, I've got the mounts for my Mac tracks. I've got a Rotopax mount that's up there. I've got another mount for a Rome Adventure Co. box. It's a 95 liter
Those
that I've
are
had
sick.
also since the Tacoma. So
Okay.
same lifespan as the Smittybilt compressor.
Okay.
Not a chance I'm getting rid of that thing
Those
until it's
things,
dead. I mean,
they're tanks, bro. You
yeah,
could throw it in the river and then drive 20 miles and grab it, and everything inside will
yeah.
be good.
Oh, it's amazing, dude. That thing lived on the side of my Tacoma, on a rack that I had on that, forever, and then it sat out on the side of my house for the longest time.
Okay.
And then when I got divorced, because I just couldn't get there was no reason to like
Yeah.
throw it away. I used it for like firewood storage,
Yeah, there
you
you
know,
go.
for, for like the whole
Yeah.
winter and stuff. And then when I got divorced, I was like, cool, we're throwing this back up on the rack.
Perfect.
So
I'm the same
yeah,
way, man. You find something that works and you're going to find a way to make it work on your next setup, man.
yeah,
That's
yep.
one of those things that cuz they're not cheap.
No,
But they're
yeah.
good.
That'll go up. Most of those things will go up there, as well as a water port shower.
Okay.
Will go up there when we're leaving on extended trips or whatever the case may be, going out for a little bit longer.
did you ever notice any kind of a fuel economy loss specifically from the roof rack itself, or no?
No,
Okay.
all the lift in the tires, I think.
Okay. And then what about when you're carrying the box and some of the other gear up on there? Does that create a little more drag that you notice?
It a little bit more. I'm feeling the wind a little bit more. Any kind of crosswinds and stuff. I'm
Okay.
definitely feeling that. But honestly, because I just finished up the a bigger off road trip and ended up pretty far away from home and had a long drive back, and I was like, cool, this will be the a good test of like how all this stuff's going to affect fuel mileage. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if it was just mostly downhill, but my MPGs went up more than they had been before. So
What?
I I have no idea what to think about that. Like
Okay.
I normally get like, anywhere between 21 and 22.
Okay.
Um and then when I had that stuff on there, and I've done plenty of other trips with that box up there and
Okay.
all the rest of the stuff, the short answer is it really doesn't seem like it affected it a whole lot.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know how that works.
Okay.
Maybe that fairing on the front of the roof rack is bouncing the wind over enough, but
Yeah.
it's not a noticeable hit to where I'm like,
Okay. Well, that's
not that I
that's
would,
good to know.
yeah,
Because I've always had the biggest cuts in fuel mileage with bumper cuts and rooftop crap.
yeah,
But
yep,
those low profile modular rack systems, dude, they seem to be engineered really, really well. They must put a lot of, you know, R&D into figuring out, okay, how do we produce this in a way that's going to do what it needs to do but not kill people's fuel economy.
yeah, totally, yep, yeah. That roof rack's been pretty sweet. That thing, I'm hopefully gonna be removing that thing and getting a new roof rack on here pretty soon.
Okay.
There's another company that's coming out with a rack that actually they're literally just down the street from me,
Really?
Sherpa Equipment Co.
Okay, I haven't
Um,
heard of them yet.
yeah. Oh
Thanks for
man.
putting me on game, dude.
Yep. So all the mounts for everything that's on there is all their mounts that they make. Like,
Okay.
I have some Baja design. Uh, I think they're designed to be rock lights that I
Okay.
mounted on the. I have some two on the left side and two on the right side on the roof rack that I have hooked up to a switch panel that's like side scene lighting for camp and
Okay.
stuff. Um, they make the mounts for that thing. They made the Max Trax mounts. The Rome Adventure Co. box is their mount. Um, gosh, I have almost every mount that they make that I
Yeah.
can put on that rack.
Okay.
Um, you know, Mostly because they're just down the street from me and super super cool dudes over there.
Okay.
And they make tons of racks for Tacomas and Jeeps, Forerunners. They got all the rigs and from I'm pretty sure they've mentioned it before. They're coming out with Subarus here really soon.
Okay, I just wanted to interject here real quick and share with you guys that since we recorded this episode, Sherpa actually reached out to Chris and gave him a full rack system completely free. So I just wanted to give them a shout out, and I'm super excited to see kind of how that rack system turns out for him. I know he just installed it, but he hasn't really done a lot of trips on it yet. However, just a massive shout out to Sherpa. It sounds like those are some good dudes. And I thought that was really nice of them to, reach out to him and give him a rack. So massive props, massive respect. If you're not already familiar with Sherpa, which I wasn't, I would absolutely recommend going and checking them out.
And I'm honestly mostly going to that rack because they got a couple features and that I'm really after.
Okay.
As well as the way that the way that that rack mounts to their car. From what they were telling me is that the Prinsu side of their rack has like a bent piece of metal off the side rail
Okay.
that then mounts to the top of the roof. I'm sure at some point it could be a little bit weaker or not quite as strong. Like I've stood up on the rack a few times and it's
Okay.
been a little like, oh, kind of sketchy, but I know they don't build them for you to stand up there. But
Yeah. Yeah.
um the Sherpa racks, I'm pretty sure they're going to be their supports go right into the crossbars on the rack.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I really like that a lot more for the weight capacity.
Okay.
That's at least some of their other racks that they're making for the other vehicles. I'm assuming that they're going to do the same thing for the Subaru models, but
Okay.
that's just my thoughts.
Do you have any plans to do a rooftop tent, or are you just going to keep running it the way you are and sleeping in the back?
Yeah, I wish I could, but I the back sleeping inside's been working so well, and
Yeah.
that I just wouldn't have a good way of putting the rest of that stuff up there.
Yeah.
If I had the tent. I wish I had the tent because I like sleeping in the car, but I don't know. There's something about that's where I started was in the
Yeah.
rooftop tent, and
Yeah.
it's just something about it,
Yeah.
that I kind
No,
of miss.
absolutely. And you feel like you're a little more in the elements, kind of
Yeah,
like
totally.
actually camping, even though it's pretty cushy.
Yeah, it's definitely cush. I mean,
Yeah.
back when I was doing wildlands firefighting stuff, dude, I was coyote spiking all the time, and that was just laying out a space blanket and
Yeah.
a sleeping bag. I've done plenty of that. I don't need to
Yeah.
do that anymore. So I was
Same.
like,
It's
I'm cush.
it's a little sketchy when you show up to camp and it's already dark and you find a spot, you just post up on the ground. You wake up and
Yeah.
find ticks all over your bag. You're like, well, this
Oh,
wasn't a good idea.
the worst, man. Ticks even
I
just
hate
fine.
them.
Do you have anything going on for like suspension support type stuff? Anything under the car that wouldn't be visible to most people?
We got an RCI engine skid plate.
Okay.
That's RCI Offroad. They're another local company here
Oh,
in
cool.
Colorado.
Okay.
Um, they're in Loveland, Colorado, so that's like like 20 minutes from me. Um, they make an engine skid plate. It's pretty thick. Got that under there.
Okay.
It's working pretty good. I need to get the transmission skid plate, but I'm still on the fence about it after talking to ADF. They have their billet pan
Yeah.
that's supposed to be a lot stronger. Um, I have noticed that I get a little, I'm running into the classic CVT. It's getting hot,
Yeah.
in cases. We got dunes out here that I'll go up to a lot, and that's where it gets hot over there. So talking with them, they're like, if you're already having overheating problems, the transmission skid plate might, probably make it a little bit worse. But if I'm being honest, the price point between the two is like, should I get the cheaper skid plate and have that protection, or fork out the cash for the billet pan? That gives it. I think they said it's like 300% more efficient in cooling and just more volume.
Yeah.
So still kind of doing some research, trying to decide on that. And I've got some more ADF stuff in there. I got their drive shaft carrier spacers.
Perfect.
I got
Good.
the differential bushings.
Okay.
Man, I think that's probably about it for stuff that's not really seen too much.
Okay. I got a couple questions. The drive shaft spacers, did you just put those in preemptively or did you get a little bit of that wobble?
So I noticed I don't know if it was the classic wobble that they were talking about, but I did notice that I was getting some kind of low. I mean, rumble is probably the
Okay.
best way to describe it. That I was getting some kind of noise at around that like 15 mile an hour and lower.
Okay.
I wasn't feeling anything necessarily, but then going on to their website and reading into it a little bit more, I was just like, yeah, let's just be, like you said, preemptive about it and just kind of keep things happy for the most part. Oh, and
Okay.
I'm sorry, I do have the Rallytech subframe spacers too.
Oh, good. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's if you're doing 2.5 in the rear, you gotta
Yeah.
have multi-link spacers, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then when you space that down, that's what changes your drive shaft angle. So I think
Yep.
you made the right choice with those carrier bearing spacers.
Yeah.
Good
Oh,
decision.
and the VTA anti-wobble from ADF too.
Oh, perfect.
Forgot about
Okay.
that. Gosh, man, I'm forgetting all these little things.
Well, that's how it is for me. People will be like, "Oh, what all do you have on your Forester? What all do you got on your Jeep? Or what all's on
Yeah.
the leg?" I'm like, "I don't know, man. I don't want to think about it."
Yeah, right? Yeah, you're not supposed to ask me that.
Yeah, because then I actually have to think about how much money I've sacrificed in my Roth IRA.
Yeah.
How many years have I added to my mortgage with car
Yeah.
mods?
Man, I'm not retiring anytime soon
Yeah.
now.
Oh man. Let me ask about those lockout bushings on the rear diff. Was that
Mhm.
another thing that you just decided to put in for, just knowing that there might be an issue or?
Yeah, so admittedly, I don't know all the nuts and bolts upon exactly of what it is that we're accomplishing, with it. I just know that I was like with everything that I'm doing and with everything that I've done in the past with the previous Subaru, you know, throwing on struts and just
Yeah.
going with it, not getting
Yeah.
alignment. I lean pretty heavily into ADF's technical info and the information behind their products that they provide. And just trusted what they're saying that this solves these issues or may help for preventative maintenance to
Yeah.
prevent any kind of issues in the past because you're making all these not modifications and whatever
Yeah.
whatever it is that you're doing to it. So I was like, okay, another thing that I'll just go ahead and I'll throw in to hopefully stave off some issues that I may have in the future.
Yeah.
But
No, good
yeah.
good choice. I've got the same setup in my daily driver. I've got those rear lockout uh bushings or whatever.
Mhm.
But dude, those diff bushings, they like to fail even at stock height and,
Mhm.
just regular usage. It's just, it's a wear and tear part. And it's such a pain to press them out and to put new ones in. So I was like, let me get these.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much it. Is just like, if I can hold off some of that kind of wear and push it further down, that's
Cool.
fine,
Okay. Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
we
just
just go
curious
that
if
route.
you'd already run into issues or if
No,
I'm just always curious. So you're
yeah,
you're on the right track doing things ahead of time rather than being in knee deep in a problem like, oh no, I should have done this 50,000 miles ago.
right, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the process, even with, like, the maintenance, like, I kinda on a regular schedule will check things out, definitely after
Good.
big kinda trips or harder trails, if I'm camping that next morning, we're checking oil, we're looking at
Cool.
boots, we're checking tires, kind of the same stuff I'm doing at work, we always check our rigs and everything before shift, and I kinda just do the same thing with my vehicle, it's just like I'm down for things to go wrong and break, because again, it's part of the fun,
Yep.
but, maybe not like 3 things at once, so
Yeah. Or things that you could have easily
right,
prevented,
yeah,
It's one thing when you're, bouncing on rocks or doing, I mean, you just kind of know it's going to happen, but
yeah, totally,
not if it's preventable, man. And not if it means you're going to blow up your engine, like checking oil, checking, dude, the boots. I'm glad you said that because I tell people all
yeah,
the time, check your effing boots, dude. Like,
yep,
because all the CV failures, in my opinion, I'd say a major percentage of them, it's all because nobody checks their boots and they drive the car through, mud and
yeah,
water and all this stuff. And that's what nukes them is
yep,
the contaminants getting in there and the grease getting out, and then they put like CarQuest axles in them and those blow up
yeah,
regardless of
yeah,
whether
totally.
you're and then they scream and cry at the lift kit manufacturer like your lift kit's blowing my axles up.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's it's a bummer that that happens, but it just a quick little glance under there. You see a dark splotch with like
Yep.
dust that's clinging to it that shouldn't be. You're like, cool. That's not right. Let's check these boots out a little bit,
Yeah.
and you peel them by, and you're like, oh,
Yep.
there we go. There's a crack
There it
in the
is. And
slinging grease.
you can spend $30 maybe just doing a reboot and then your axle's
Yeah.
still
Totally.
good. Yeah, man. I love that you said that because there's not enough people doing that. I myself have been guilty of not doing it and then,
Mm.
you know, exploding something.
Yeah, I did that on my Tacoma, I didn't
Okay.
there was a early in, off-roading a whole bunch of that, and you're not paying attention to that kinda stuff and, checked
Yep.
the CV boot blew up and had all kinds of issues, and when I'm going down there looking at it, all the telltale signs that there had been grease there for a long
Long
time,
time. Yeah.
just, like, thick old stuff that, you coulda caught that a long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And on Subarus, we just
let's be real, they're made for daily driving.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they've
Just
already
call it what
got
it is.
yeah, they got toothpick axles and pretty small tie rods and everything. And if you're not, keeping up on inspections and maintenance, it's not going to treat you right.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. I've heard that whole saying, "Take care of the car, it'll take care of you."
Yep.
Just one of those things, man.
Yeah.
You spend all this money on it. They're not cheap. Cars are not cheap. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, so take care of it. Learn
Yeah.
about it. Work on it. Yeah, I don't think there's like a single thing that if it broke on the Forester that I wouldn't for at least a second think I could probably do this myself, or
Yeah.
I'm going to at least try
Yeah.
because I want to learn a thing or two about this,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it's rod knock, I'm just going to
Yeah,
put a new engine in it. But
yeah.
other than that, man, like, let's go, dude.
Yeah. Yep. Totally.
Have you seen one of those ADF pans in person?
I have not.
Dude, they're pretty robust. If you're ever concerned about whether or not it would hold up to any kind of abuse, I would run one of those in a heartbeat. I wish they made them for the true automatic transmissions like the 4 and 5 EAT, because I would swap one of those out for my skid plate any day. But dude, getting that extra fluid capacity is the jam. 100%.
Yeah. I think that's the route that I kind of want to go. Just because of, the I wouldn't say the overheating. I have a scan gauge that I watch the
Perfect.
the CVT temps on
Okay.
to begin with, but watching how quick those temps get up, and it seems like compared to coolant, obviously the coolant's regulated by a thermostat, but like engine temp comes down quick. The tranny
Not so
takes a
much.
while to come down. So putting in another pan down there, or not a pan, but the skid plate, and trapping all that heat down there, I just think I'm going to I might run into some issues with that. So the billet pan seems like, and I would imagine too, it's probably not taking up, you probably almost look like it's that stock pan, as far as like it doesn't hang down quite as far.
It doesn't. I would say it's going to hang down further because it is a bigger.
Sure. Yeah.
It's got way more capacity. Because I don't know if you've seen the stock stamp steel ones, but they're these like really little, like shallow things. Like,
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know what their thought process was there. They probably weren't anticipating people running big tires and stuff.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, totally.
But yeah, I don't think it hangs down I think it hangs down at a higher point than what a skid plate would.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too.
But man, I'm just like super cautious about that stuff. I run like transmission coolers. I love those things.
Really? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, even if I had, it probably wouldn't be necessary, but even if I had like a robust, bigger capacity pan, I'd probably still run one just because I want to be able to just make 200% sure that I'm never going to get hot.
Yeah.
That's just my style. But did your car come with an external transmission cooler or no?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and I thought about doing that too. And part of me is like, man, you're adding adding extra components that could fail.
Mhm.
But I naturally am gonna, like, that's something I would definitely want to install. That sounds like a lot of fun to do that. I think you had someone else on your podcast that SLT Trek, I think.
Okay, yeah.
Did she put a transmission cooler on hers?
I think she did.
Or-
And they're pretty easy. Like, there's a proper way to do it where you have it hooked up to a thermostat. I don't do that. I just tap into the return line, and it's 2 fittings, and bam, you're off to the races.
Oh, there you go.
But yeah, I think it was her. I think she's got one. I put one on the Jeep, and dude, those Jeep transmissions, the AW4s on the Jeep that I have, they're notorious for getting hot with anything bigger than like 29-inch tires.
Oh, really? Okay.
Haven't overheated once since I put just getting that extra capacity. Absolute game changer, man. It's just a little more fluid and a little bit extra like radiation activity. Like, okay, we're good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely it's on the list for sure of
Yeah.
things I need to consider in the future. So far I've been able to kind of baby it around and you know, get by just fine with what I got going on, but it's the it's the steep stuff that
Yes.
I think Derek might have mentioned it when you were talking to him too. It's not so much like the rocks and the regular stuff
Yeah.
that you're going over. It's just anything that's super steep
Steep and
and
long.
it's steep and long,
Yeah.
and that gives you the trouble. Like overall, I'd say that's the only thing that's given me any trouble in this. I mean, I've gone everywhere just about that I did in my Tacoma in the Forester,
Okay.
and had no problems. A little bit of you know line choice
Hmm.
and being careful and stuff, and it gets you away. But it's just that steep stuff that overheats the
The
transmission. That
CVT.
yeah, and and then at the worst case scenario for me and like what I've experienced, it just means you got to stop for a little bit, let it cool
Yeah.
down, and keep
Yeah.
going.
I'm
But
glad you mentioned the scan gauge too, because that's another thing. I think it was Sierra that I was talking to where I was like, oh dang, I never thought to grab one of those and have live data right there. Um,
yeah,
I don't have a car where it's real applicable. Um, but man, for everybody with anything a little bit newer, they don't have temp gauges and have any kind of
yep.
gauge really
Oh,
now.
I know.
They just tell you once you've nuked it. They're like, oh, okay, ghost pay us
Yeah,
$800,000 for
totally. Yep. Yeah, and I know Derek also mentioned the same thing. It's like we get the engine temp, we get
Mhm.
water temp, and then that's it. I mean,
Yeah.
I like you just said, I don't want to wait till
Yeah.
hey, you're overheating at that point. It's like, cool. Wish I could have
Yeah.
known about that a little sooner.
Yeah, because now I'm up to my neck in problems, and now
Yep.
how am I going to get out of this without messing something up? I would have liked to have known this when I was only a quarter of the way up this, big
Yeah,
problem, dude.
totally. Yeah, it's definitely peace of mind too. And like even back to like, the WRX wagon, had a Cobb access port.
Hmm.
So, you're able to monitor um all the different parameters. You can spot problems as they're arising. Like if you're having issues,
Exactly.
like if the oil pressure was climbing quicker and not coming down as often, as quick as it maybe used to, then I might be preemptively being let know about an issue that's coming up. So maybe not right at that moment, but it's like, hey, something's wearing out, or yeah, my transmission's getting hot way quicker than it used to, and I'm driving in the same
Yeah.
conditions. You can kind of spot those trends with the data that you're getting, from that scan gauge.
Being able to kind of know ahead of time that you're getting
Yeah.
into dangerous waters is good.
Yeah, you're like, oh, cool. So I'm not going out to dinner anymore because I have a feeling I'm spending some money here.
Exactly. Let me ask you a little bit about you know, I get the impression I just talked to so many people in the Subaru community. Um, I get the impression that none of them have actually been in something that's got four-wheel drive.
Mm.
Um, as somebody who's had a vehicle and modified it that is in that camp, um, what are some of the main, uh, trade-offs when you're either leaving that and coming to a Subaru or going from a Subaru to that? What are some of the biggest things that you noticed?
Immediately off the bat, the low range, like that, the ability to crawl along and make it up some of those
Mhm.
that steep stuff and not have to worry about temps, just because I'm assuming it's the gear ratio and everything that you're running is just not working nearly as hard.
Yeah.
Um, you know, um, I think that the gear, having that low range gear was like one of the biggest things that I noticed. And if I understand, the way that the suspension, independent suspension on the Subaru, we're just not getting quite as much articulation as we would with, some of
Solid
those,
solid
solid
axles,
axle
yeah.
and, that you're going to find on most, true 4x4s. But,
Yeah.
um, you know, I think in my experience, it's been only a few situations where I've had that. And I think it's still the CVT that holds me back. Otherwise, the all-wheel drive seems to be performing in some of the same fashion that I felt like I experienced in the Tacoma, with at least the off-roading that I'm doing. I never did. I was never really super into like rock crawling per se. Just lots of pretty rough trails, but for like
Yeah.
long periods of time
Okay.
is kind of what I've been into, just traveling long distances. But so I
Yeah.
probably didn't use it quite as much as, like I would have if I was out doing Hell's Revenge or,
Yeah.
bouncing on rocks quite as much. But
Yeah. Well, and it sounds like in your case, I've told this to a couple people, but your what like your demands are literally the perfect reason to lift a Subaru and take it off road. You
yeah.
know, using it as a way to get to a place to do a specific activity is what they're
Mhm.
for, rather than I'm buying this and the activity is going off road and beating the dog piss out of it, you know?
Yep. Exactly. So that's a good point. I mean, if that's what I was into, I probably would have hung on to the Tacoma.
Yeah.
The Subaru is just you're asking for trouble at that point. I'm not gonna be putting rock sliders on this thing probably at any point. I'll take the hits if that's what happens. Um but yeah, it's just mostly like, I'm going on some pretty rough trails, for small periods of time, or I'll get down on some stuff, and it will be fun in the Subaru, just in its
Yep.
own right, because
Yep.
you're like, I shouldn't be doing this, but I'm gonna,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
and then every time you're kind of like, whoa, I can't believe it did that, and it did it relatively easily,
Yeah.
because my the buddy I go out with the most, actually, that we're out off-roading and doing these multi-day trips and all this exploring and stuff, he's in a Tacoma, and
Okay.
I've everywhere we've that he's gone, I've been able to get there with the Forester, and he's said a few times, he's just like, man, every time I get over this obstacle or whatever, I look back and I see that you're like halfway through it, and he's like, just it. I think he's surprised each time, like
Yeah.
it makes it.
Oh yeah,
So
man. I find the same thing. I'm always shocked at what these cars can do. I mean, there's a point where I've also done things to it where I'm like, I actually can't believe it did that. And it's
yeah,
like, okay, I did
yeah,
that once, but I probably couldn't do that every
yes,
weekend. And I'm
totally,
gonna have to give this thing a real good once over once I get back to the garage.
yeah,
But it's mind blowing, like what you can do in like a little, like I said, like a daily driver. It's
yeah,
like sick. And all I had to do was
yeah,
lift it
because
and put bigger tires.
Yeah, because I mean, the thing, it drives so nice on the road still. Like, it especially after those Rally Tech springs and stuff.
Hmm.
I'm not getting as much body roll as I was before because I don't have sway bars.
Okay.
Those came off real quick,
My
but
man.
yeah. Um, but the thing, it drives so nice still on the road. I mean, like my girlfriend and I still call it the date night car because it's got that sweet moonroof.
Yep.
I've always wanted a moonroof for some reason, but it still drives super nice on the road, and then you can get out and just rip on it in the dirt and get you to some crazy places,
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm always shocked. And I do, yeah, literally, like it's no secret. Like I own an XJ that's kind of,
Mhm.
modded about as much as you can mod one without doing tons. Um, I mean, it'll crawl up a wall, but I
Yeah,
still prefer to drive the Forester.
yeah,
If it's
yeah,
if it's more than 5 miles down the road, let's take the Forester.
yeah, yeah,
It's like it's like driving a sports car in comparison.
yeah,
I mean, and I don't even have aftermarket springs in it right now. I've just got OEM. Actually, the suspension in that thing, it's probably 20 years old.
really, jeez. But see, that's the
So,
kind of stuff I love to hear too, though. Is
yeah,
oh, I'm like, seeing people get out there doing stuff and they are on the stock stuff. And
yeah,
it's like even more of a testament to like, it's like, hey, you don't even have to do all the things that I've done and you
yeah,
can still get out there and do it.
yeah, 100%, man. It's crazy too because yeah, the springs are a little saggy because they're old. They've been beat half to death. But I mean, you push down on the thing and it doesn't bounce. It comes right back up and
Yeah.
rebounds pretty quick. Um, but they're probably due for for a refresh.
Yeah.
It
It
is
won't
what
be
it is.
mad. How about that?
What's that?
When you do it, it won't be mad that you did it.
Exactly. It'll be
Yeah.
like, thanks for actually taking care of me for once.
Yeah.
Uh, as far as and I guess just to round off that section to anybody that's listening, if you're buying a Subaru thinking you're going to turn it into a rock crawler or a rock bouncer or a dedicated off-roader, that's not what either of us would recommend.
Yeah.
They're great as a means to an end, but if you're actually
Yeah.
trying to get out there and keep up with dudes on, 42s, this is not the path for you.
I'm not gonna say I wouldn't like seeing that though. If somebody wants to do that.
Do you know my homie Jake, JG42s on Instagram? He's got that it's an old silver SG on 1-ton axles. He built like a custom frame and he's literally got a Forester, an '03 or an '04 on 42s. It's
Damn.
still running an EJ25 naturally
Holy
aspirated motor,
smokes.
but it's I think he's got like a Chevy transmission, I think, in there
Okay.
with like a Toyota TK. I can't remember what his whole setup is, but if you want to see Subarus doing stupid stuff, he's probably got the coolest wheeler hands down in the United States, just in my opinion, because I love SGs and
Yeah.
and I love 42-inch tires.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to check that out. That sounds awesome.
Yeah. His tires, I think he's got Pitbull rockers on it or something. Those are worth more than two of my Subarus, like,
Yep.
$2,000 a pop for, 25. I can't remember what they are, but man, it's a lot of money. Once you get up into that big boy stuff, it's like, oh gosh, let me go ahead and get take a HELOC out on the home and
Yep. There you go.
let me think here. Are there any mods that I haven't asked you about on the car that you think would be helpful for people to know about?
I don't think so. I got the typical lights,
Okay.
that people put on. I try to keep that stuff to a minimum of just the things that I feel like I would need. So I got pretty thin light bar that tucks away on the front of
Yeah.
the rack real nice.
Love
Some
that.
Baja design hood lights. Let's see. I think that kind of I with the whole car, I tried to keep things for the most part to pretty, you know, use not going over the top on any which way,
Yeah.
just the things that I think I need for what I'm trying to do with it.
I love
Um,
that.
yeah, a lot of camp oriented stuff or like,
Okay.
things for when I'm out in the trail. So things that I've done to the car to make it a little bit more livable. Like I've taken the back apart and made my own like platform that I can access all my recovery gear and tools
Perfect.
underneath.
Perfect.
And just a lot of efficiency to get to like even below that where I keep the AGM scissor jack, which that thing is
Love it.
love that
Sick.
thing. Super awesome. So yeah, just ways that I kind of access all my gear. I've done a lot of little things that work for me to make things real quick and easy, but otherwise, man, it's for the most part pretty stock and probably gonna stay that way. I think the transmission stuff is on the horizon as well
Okay.
as, potentially looking at some other suspension stuff. I know Flat Out makes a OEM
Yeah.
style strut that has a little
Yeah.
bit of rebound
I've
adjustment.
seen those.
That's caught my eye and I thought that would be kind of cool because I do think that I could benefit from a little bit of better valving
Yeah.
in the struts, but man, other than that, that's probably it for the modifications,
Okay.
Not done
Uh,
anything to the motor, keeping that
oh,
nice and stock.
yeah. With those, you're just kind of asking for trouble if you start doing silly
Yeah.
stuff to them.
Yeah, man, I learned my lesson with the first one. Yeah, so, I'm super interested in the torque locker. The same guy that had that suspension I was telling you about, that flat suspension that drove his car and saw him driving through the terrain that we were both going in, and
Mhm.
we were both seeing the way he was absorbing it was pretty awesome. He had a torque locker in his. It was interesting because we were going up this pass trail through a whole bunch of super deep snow, still kind of like springish time. And it seemed like he was climbing through that stuff a little bit better. I don't know if that's exactly the scenario that torque locker comes into play or really benefits from, so I saw that firsthand. I was like, cool, there's another little tick right there of like kind of interested in the torque locker. But man, on the last trip that I went on, it was kind of a good culmination of exactly what I want to do with the car. Going on these just long multi-day trips on trails that I kind of put together on Onyx, or whether they're backcountry discovery routes to the case,
Yeah.
with little mixes of like hard stuff. Like I'm not
Okay.
gonna, I want to be able to go turn down that road, that trail that shoots off and see where that takes me. Cause it's just,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's all about exploration. I just like getting out, seeing new places, and I want to be able to tackle whatever I can find, or at least see what I can do. And the torque locker is kind of like one of those things. Like I don't think I need it. And I don't think I would be using it quite as often as I think I would. But honestly, the thought of installing it myself alone makes me want to do it because it sounds like a fun challenge. So
Absolutely. And it's
find
not
a
too
used
hard.
diff on eBay
There you
and
go.
install it in that,
Yeah. And have
and
it
then
ready
just
to
throw the
drop
diff.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I did mine, and they click a little bit, but I think I've heard in your guys' diffs, the 1-bolt diffs, they make even less noise.
Yeah.
Um, I I installed mine, and honestly, man, you gotta follow the instructions, but all your shims are already there in the, in the diff when you pull it apart, and
Hmm.
I'm I'm not very smart, and I did it.
Mm-hmm.
So most people should be able to do it, but
Yeah, it's definitely on my mind as a if I find a diff online with the right miles and the right,
Mhm.
price. I think I'm gonna at least start that process
Okay.
because I'm sure it's one of those things. Like I'll take it out and naturally I'm like, all right, let's go hit up something pretty hard, and I'm gonna do that and be like, wow, glad I did this.
Yeah, it is a game changer, and our having open diffs is it's like the most defeating feeling when you're like, I've got literally
Yeah,
full traction on 3 of these tires, but I've got 1 tire that's up in the air and I can't go anywhere.
yeah.
D Dude, it's so frustrating.
Yeah, it's definitely those, it's those trails that are, get all that water
Mhm.
runoff and rut it out, and you're sitting there tripoding and whatnot.
Exactly, yeah.
And I think those are, I've been able to make it past all the ones that I've encountered so far, but it's going to be that one that is preventing me from going, the rest of the trail that I know is probably passable.
Yeah.
That I'm like, if I had the torque locker, I probably would have been able to do it. So when that day
Yeah.
comes, it'll probably happen. But
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
I always just like to ask because it's that's like the one thing for our cars where I'm like, oh, I'm so glad this is available.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Purely just because it's there too. It's just like, man, that's a cool piece of a kit to have in there, and
Yeah.
you know, another one of those things that you can tell people when you see them when they see a Subaru out in the trail and they're like, "What the hell is it doing out here?"
Exactly,
Like,
bro.
"How'd you get here?" And they inevitably start asking like, "Oh, what have you done to the car?" And this and that. And you're like, "Yeah, and I got a torque locker." And they're like,
Yeah.
"What the heck?"
Yeah, dude.
It's just cool.
Major shout out to Cora over at Torque Masters. It's owned by a lady, dude. She crushes it. Like
Heck yeah.
makes it's like, in my opinion, some of the best automatic lockers. Like, I've got 2 of them in my Jeep. I've got one in the Subaru, and I'll probably never run a different locker in any car that I ever build. They're just the most smoothest ratcheting lockers that I've ever run, and actually, I think it's all manufactured here. They're based in New York, but
Okay.
yeah. So
Yeah.
shout out to Torque Masters.
Yeah, Torque Masters, man. Yeah, because I looked them up and I was trying to find the manual, and read
Mm,
up on it and kind of look at what the install entails, and
yeah.
um, yeah, and found out that oh, they make these for all kinds of vehicles too.
Hmm.
It's not just some, I didn't think that it was just a Subaru thing by any means, but it's like, okay, cool. This is a really cool, unique piece of equipment that we have that's accessible to us. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. 100%,
yeah,
man.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think
No.
it would be nice to kind of wait and put that down the road. So then I feel like I'll appreciate it even more.
Yes.
It's like after I've done, get some more time, you know, getting more time on the Forester on these trails. And then when I do it, it's like cool,
Yeah.
like all,
It's like those kids that they go to the gym for a week and then they go looking for a steroid dealer, and it's like,
yeah,
hold
yep,
on, dude. Like, I
yep,
would never advocate for PEDs, but if you're gonna do them, at least see what you can do naturally. That way, you know the
right.
difference and you appreciate, like, oh wait, oh, this is what other dudes are dealing with when they're not on the sauce.
Yeah, totally, man. Yeah, it's kind of like it's that old saying, like, you can't think outside the box if you don't know how big the box is to begin with, It's like
Exactly.
you gotta get to know your terrain first.
Yeah.
At least that's the route that I'm taking. I
Yeah.
think I'm gonna go. So,
Dude, and I like the setup that you've got. It's not like if you ever needed, like, let's say you had a growing family and you're like, okay, I got to sell this car because I really need something bigger. Your
hmm
car has retained a lot of the features of the vehicle that they spent millions of dollars and hired countless engineers to engineer
yeah,
to work a certain way. Like, you could bring it back to stock and it wouldn't be all chopped up. It wouldn't be
yep,
undrivable. Somebody could hop in that thing and drive it like, oh yeah, this feels like a Subaru.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It wouldn't take it, maybe an afternoon or two, and you could have all that stuff off and having it look pretty much like it was when I first bought it. So,
Yeah. And you're still
yeah.
out there, crushing like cool stuff. I love that.
Recovery gear wise, I'm carrying soft shackles. You know, got a kinetic rope. I forget who makes it. I got it from like a local shop. I want
Okay.
to say it's like a flat. I think they advertised it as like a cross between a static and a kinetic.
Okay. Oh, that's
Um,
cool.
yeah, I haven't had to use it. I used my buddies when I pulled him out in his Tacoma, because I
Okay.
did pull him out with the Forester when he was
Oh,
stuck in the
that's
snow. That was super cool. But we used his rope for that. But
okay.
pretty much just the kinetic rope. We got a shovel tucked away in there if we need
Mhm.
that. The Max Tracks works as shovels.
Mhm.
Max Tracks are humongous resource for you know a lot of situations that I've come into, or like I've been out to the dunes and gotten myself stuck on
Yeah.
purpose and been able to get out every time with just the
Huh.
Max Tracks.
Okay.
Um, and again, that's another one that I've had those things since the Rome Adventure Co. box and the Smitty built compressor. So the true Max Tracks brand, I feel like, is the way to go. I mean, that thing is those are solid.
And
They
there is a
last a
difference,
long
man.
time.
I've
Yeah,
used the
the material.
knockoffs. They break real easy.
Yeah. I've seen the knockoffs break. I mean, I'm sure it'll get you out in a pinch, but those things used to live on the Tacoma. They are out in the sun, just getting beat
Mhm.
up, and those things are still super solid.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, we got the Max Tracks, soft shackles. We got the recovery rope. Um, you could consider tools as recovery too. I'm sure. I
Absolutely. Go
keep
into it.
Yeah, I keep an impact gun with me. I try to take everything off, manually. Like if we're taking the wheels off and stuff, I'll take them off by hand to kind of save the battery for
Mhm.
moments that I'm gonna need it. But full complement of tools. I've been meaning to go in and double check pretty much all the main socket sizes that I might need and making sure I have all of them. But I'm pretty sure I've got it pretty well covered.
Yeah.
Um, Man, we've got tire repair kits in there. We've got these sidewall.
Slugs.
Yeah, I got the slugs, tried and true slugs there. And then I saw these other patches. I forget what they're called, but they're like these flat pieces of rubber that you can glue
Mhm.
on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so I got some of those to just in case, try
Yeah.
that out.
And if not for
Keep a
you, you might have somebody else on the trail that,
100%.
that's what
Yeah.
half of my recovery setup is for, is like, I know I'm not gonna need this, fingers crossed, but
Yeah.
somebody else
Yeah. I
might.
mean, that's half the fun too. You're carrying this stuff with you, and, even if you don't need it, for one, it just makes sense. If you're going to be going out there pretty far and you're losing cell service, and you should be having something that you can make an effort to get out,
Yeah.
I just think it's pretty important in that aspect. But you run into other people that aren't, and you get to help them out. Like they've got a problem, you've got some tools. Let's see if we can figure it out and solve it. So
Yeah.
um,
Some of my best friends are people that I met years ago out on the trails.
yeah, totally, man. Yeah, that's my favorite. That's some of the best stuff. Um,
Same.
yeah, keep a torque wrench me. I torque everything. So
Dude, okay,
yeah.
you really are not playing games. You got the torque wrench on deck on the trails,
Yeah.
dude. I
Yep.
love that.
I got all my torques written down
Okay.
in my tool bag, so if I ever forget. But yeah, I mean, I take my wheels off. I retorque them.
Perfect.
So
Hey, and that's good because a lot of people will ugga-dugga them, and
yeah.
Subaru wheel studs are not, they do not like being over torqued. They'll pop
Yep.
real quick. So
My
good call.
girlfriend ran into that
Oh no.
at a shop. I don't know if I should say their name, but
Always. I already know
um
who it was, man. You don't even
yeah,
have to say it.
I think it was three wheel studs that broke. She brought it home, and I'm going to recheck stuff, and it just whoop comes right
Boom.
off. Like,
Oh,
all right.
I already, it's 2 words, right?
Yeah.
I know exactly who it is. Yeah, they're notorious everywhere. And I get it. You're trying to hire some kid to be your tire tech, and it is what it is. But yeah, they
Yeah.
don't like being over torqued at all.
Yeah. So I try to be nice to him, and torque that stuff down. But um yeah, I think as far as recovery gear, it's kind of the basics, I mean,
Yeah.
for recovery, and uh some of the camping stuff can kind of fall into that. But sleeping arrangement wise, we're using that Luno air mattress that's been working super good. We keep I keep cold weather clothes with me off of the ADF headliner rack. I have
Okay.
my own like little mesh cargo bin that I kind of like made
Oh,
to,
cool.
take
Okay.
kind of extend that usable ceiling space.
Okay.
So we keep pillows and sleeping bag up there at all times. Cold weather stuff. We got the compressor on me, and I got, I keep I got the kitchen set up, jet boil. We keep coffee in there. We've got
Perfect.
food on board. Uh,
Perfect.
man, this is kind of like the modifications. Like, what all do we got in there when you're like trying to think on the spot?
Right.
I keep a
Yes.
fridge in the car.
Okay. What do
Yeah,
you
we're
run for
running.
that?
So it's a I think the brand's called Bougie RV. That's what it's called. It's like off of Amazon, like
That's sick.
most purchased, deal, like 23 quart deal. And I did
Yeah.
I measured the behind my driver's seat. I retracted my chair back to about as far as I would like, comfortably want it.
Okay.
Then I measured how much space I had back there and how wide it was and tall. And then I found a fridge, the biggest fridge I could fit back there. And it was that one. And tried it out actually a couple weeks before I went on that 5-day off-road trip, and it worked amazing. Like
That's really cool.
phenomenal, just fantastic so far.
You're very intuitive on the way that you know, the stuff you keep on hand, the way you modify things, it's well thought out. It's not like, oh, I saw this on social media and it looks sick, so I'm gonna install it.
Yeah.
Seems like there's a reason behind everything you've done. I appreciate that a lot. I think it's refreshing.
Yeah, I mean, like, a lot of it obviously it came from getting out in the Tacoma a lot, and going on trips. And I mean, I keep notes of my
Mhm.
experiences that I'm having. I'm like, okay, what worked on this, what didn't, like, I think the best word for it is like optimize. Like, I'm going to
Yes.
optimize this setup and so moving in from the Tacoma into the Forester, I'm dealing with less space. So I got to get pretty creative with the way that I store things, and like, where's, I see a spot and I'm like, okay, that's useless space right there. That could be something like this little, I can store a quart of oil in this little spot if I etch out this little area, kind of deal.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, like that's been the biggest thing about the Forester is just making usable space, but in a way that it's like not in the way. I can still fit people in the back if I want to drive carry passengers. I can
Okay.
totally do that. Again, got ADF's that rear quarter panel multi panel that's coming.
Oh, okay.
That's been a long time coming too. I was like,
Sick.
man, but again, I was like, I'm gonna wait to get that till a point comes up that I found that I could use this space. So, I got this like sweet paper towel holder that folds up real flat that I plan to just put right there. So,
Okay.
yeah, man, like just all kinds of stuff that it's been so much fun. Like, cause I'm like, I have this problem. I know what I want the outcome to be. I want to be able to go out, adventure all over, and just be out on the road and checking out all these different places for as long as I can. But I want to do it in a way that's like it's comfortable and it's not work. Like it's like easy to do. Everything is easy to grab. The car brakes. Okay, cool. I'm gonna do these 3 things, and I'm at my jack. Car's lifted up in the air, and we're doing stuff.
Okay.
Like efficiency, I guess. And
well, and it
I don't
just
know,
makes your
it's easy.
trips. It makes your trips so much more fun.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Even my garage, dude. Like my garage is so unorganized.
It happens, man. I mean, my garage is definitely not like the force right now. It's kind of a mess.
Yeah, it's pretty embarrassing.
So I'm a firefighter.
Cool.
Yeah. It's an interesting job for sure. Like I don't really post about it too much, like on the Instagram, not really on purpose. Just I kind of keep it car related for the most part. But yeah, I mean, it's a sweet job. I've been in the fire service, I think, as like a whole for about 10 years.
Okay.
When I first moved out to Colorado, I started doing wildland firefighting with the Forest Service, did that for 5 seasons. And I worked in the operating rooms in the winters, like when the season would stop, and I was just a technician. So we would kind of help clean the rooms and set up the equipment for the next operations. So just kind of turning over rooms. So you're cleaning up after
man,
all kinds of stuff. But
hey, what were you doing, like ER stuff, or any specific specialty?
no. So they called it a perioperative services assistant, as they called it. And it was, we're at the hospital I was at the time. I think at the time it was like a level 2 trauma center. They did like, general surgeries. They had traumas that they would do, but we were kind of just the people that would come in and set up for like the next case. And as soon as one surgery would end, and it could be everything from like spinal stuff, ortho surgeries. I mean, there was tons of surgeries happening all at one time. So we just go in there and kind of reset everything. And that was kind of my winter gig for a couple years.
There you go. Were you responsible for like setting up like the sterile field, or was
a little bit?
Okay.
Yeah, like once we were there, I'd been there for a little while. They helped me like kind of open, if you will, like open some sterile stuff and put them on the field. But funny enough, my girlfriend was a ER nurse for I think 8 years, and she actually just left the ER and is now a operating room nurse at the same hospital where I worked and actually where we met almost 10 years ago now.
Oh, that's sick. Well, I technically work in the medical industry, so I didn't even know that you had done that before. That's really cool.
It's not many people do. It doesn't get brought up a whole lot, but it was a awesome job for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's I always just like meeting people and talking to people and hearing about their life experiences and things. But it sounds like kind of the way you've made your money for the last little bit. Whether it's firefighting or being in operating room or operating rooms. I can see how some of that would kind of translate. Because you don't have time to be inefficient in in you got to be prepared and ready to rock and roll at any point when you're, on call for the fire department, and you have to have attention to detail when you're messing around in operating rooms. You can't be playing games.
Yeah, totally.
So this all makes sense now, dude.
Yeah. Oh, boom. There's a light bulb.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool because it's like, your life experience is just, you learn from, at least you like to, you
Yeah.
feel like, I feel like you should pull
Exactly.
from all your life experience, and it kind of just shapes you into who you are. You learn what works, and, a lot of that stuff in the fire service, and what I'm doing now with work. A lot of that stuff translates over into what I like to do in my off time, which is, getting outdoors and,
Yeah.
off-roading, taking the Subaru places that it shouldn't be going, and at least trying to. And,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's kind of I feel like it would be a disservice to myself if you don't like kind of lean into all the experience that, you gain
Yeah.
throughout life. But yeah.
100%. And I hate to be this guy, but do you have any crazy stories from your time working in, whether it's wildland or I don't know if you work for like a local fire department, but any crazy stories there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's definitely the question. They always ask, like,
Like I
what is
said,
it?
I hate to be that dude, but I gotta ask.
Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, it's funny because, like, people will ask, like, because wildland firefighting was one whole experience.
Mhm.
I saw, we did actual firefighting there. When you move over to the structural side of stuff, 80 to 90% of the calls that we run are all mostly medical calls,
Yeah.
because I'm an EMT, IV certified, and all this and that. And,
Okay.
we respond to everything. Essentially, we like to call the fire truck as a toolbox. Like,
Yeah.
we'll try to solve any problem, or at least get it started. So, um, you know, I don't really have anything that comes to mind. Every time someone asks, it's like, I can't think of something right now. And then
Yeah.
later it'll come up. But, one time, we had some pretty big fires that were happening out here in Colorado. And I'll tell this story just because I've told this to other people and no one would believe me.
Okay.
So
Oh,
maybe I
dude,
can I can
I'm your
fool
guy
you or
then.
everyone
Let's
else.
go. Let's go,
Um,
dude.
yeah, we had some big fires going on out here in Colorado a couple of years ago. If people that are listening, they're from Colorado, they'll remember the Cameron Peak fire. But,
Okay.
um, I was with a different fire department, at the time, and we had, got assigned to go up and help because it was pretty close. I mean, this thing was blowing up huge. Um, we got the call that they needed help, and they were asking a lot of local fire departments for, apparatus and personnel to just come up. And we head up into the area. We see where the fire's, you know, where the fire's at. I meet up with like a whole bunch of my old Forest Service buddies. They're all running around doing things, and it's like
Okay.
an old homecoming kind of deal.
Cool.
It's super cool, and they're teasing me because I went over the structure side and stuff. And, um, we do all that, and they're like, "All right, cool. You guys are gonna, you're just gonna bed down for the night at these lodges down the canyon, and, we'll get you lined out tomorrow to get started on some stuff." And so we did that. Super late at night, 1 or 2 in the morning, probably by this time. I just go ahead, and everyone else is sleeping either in rigs, or in a tent, or some of the case. I'm like one of the only ones that just like rolled out a sleeping bag on the ground because I was just like, we're getting up early. I like
Yeah.
to just pack my stuff up and be gone.
Yeah.
Sometime in the middle of the night, I feel something on my toes. I'm like, what is that? I look up, and there's a baby, black bear cub rumbling around next to my feet. And I'm just like, ugh, like kind of half awake. But then I realize what's going on. I'm like, this is not good. So I kick my feet up, and I'm right next to like this big ponderosa tree, and it just flies up the tree, like right above me. And so it was
What?
like, cool. Instead of that thing running away and getting, because I'm sure mom's nearby, and that's,
Exactly, bro.
no good. It just goes up the tree right above me, just showering me in, tree bark and stuff like that. And
Oh, dude.
I'm just like, okay, looking up at this cub that's up in the tree, and I'm like, oh my gosh, is anyone awake? And I'm looking around, and you know, nobody heard it. What was going?
Yeah.
Didn't hear the weird noises that the thing was making. And, sure enough, I hear the mom walking up the canyon road, and I can kind of just barely make it out that it's like on the road. And I'm like, all right, cool. This is getting worse and worse. I'm just waiting for some stuff to happen. It it makes a bunch of noises, and then that cub just kind of slowly backs its way down the tree right next to me, and
Oh,
then just kind of
dude.
bolts off.
Oh,
And
thank God.
and then they actually both go up and around and start messing with some other dudes and some rigs, and they woke up, and I heard them and stuff. So I told everybody the next morning, and they were like, "What are you talking about, you liar?" And so I don't know. It was
Dude.
just like the one story. I'm like, gosh, man, like nobody believes me, but that's whatever.
No, man, I don't know why anybody wouldn't believe that because I mean, we get bears out here, or at least where I grew up.
Yeah,
Did you say they were
it's just
black
a
bears?
thing. Yeah, they're black bears. I
Yeah.
mean, and we get them all the time.
Mhm.
So they acted like it was. We don't get grizzlies, but
Yeah.
they acted like it was some mythical unicorn. No possible way I saw a black bear. It's like, okay,
Well, and I just looked it up. That was it looks like it started in uh was contained by December and it burned over 200,000 acres. Is that
yeah,
kind
it was
okay?
big. Yeah,
Well, when during 2020 when everything was kind of shut down,
yep,
I saw more bears during that period of time than I've ever seen in my whole life. And people weren't out because a lot of the roads out here they shut down a bunch of stuff.
yeah,
And so there was not as many car noises and things like that to keep bears kind of out in their regular areas. And man, I just saw one maybe a month ago, and it's just crazy when you see them and you're like, oh, they're not small like in the coloring books. They're
yeah, yep,
they're huge. Even black bears, man, give me the willies. They're
yeah,
not nearly as aggressive, but I mean, if they think you're trying to grab one of their kids, I'm sure they won't
yeah.
hesitate to get after you.
That's why I was like, man, a black bear all day.
Yeah,
It's fine. You know how to deal with those things. But when anytime you're really getting with any of those animals,
kids.
children,
Yeah.
they're not stoked. I mean, moose are definitely the thing out here that will cause you the most grief,
Oh,
aside
man.
from humans. Humans can be jerks too, but
Oh, absolutely.
um, moose can be that. Those have been my scariest encounters for sure. Have
Mhm.
been running into moose on the trail and stuff, especially when we're doing wildland. You're just out hiking all over the place and just
Yeah.
running into stuff. But
Behind gates, I'm guessing the majority of
oh
the
yeah,
time, right? Yeah.
yeah, yep,
Yeah, not a whole lot going on back there, so they're not scared to they're just roaming.
yeah. You're in their territory at that
Yeah,
point.
and again, I think a moose is another thing. They just think of all the cartoon ones, but man, they do not give a fudge, and they're actually aggressive, man. They will
Oh yeah,
mess your
definitely.
whole day up.
Yeah.
You ever been to Alaska?
No. Hopefully
Dude,
someday.
the craziest like my introduction to meeting a moose was downtown Anchorage. I'm sitting in traffic and I'm like, why is nobody going? And then I look way up there. There's a moose just standing in the middle of the road. Like, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, right.
downtown Anchorage, like, middle fingers up, like, I don't care.
Yep. Yeah.
uh, wh- what kind of situations like, have you ever had one charge you or anything when you've been out there?
No, we've had them, stare us down and, kind of scrape the ground with their
Hmm.
legs kind of at us and make some huffing and, you know, just those telltale signs
Yeah.
that I think most humans should kind of get as a clue to be like, all right, cool, we're gonna give you some room,
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, luckily I've been able to avoid
Okay.
quite a bit of animal encounters.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wildland firefighting's pretty common out here. I live in East Oregon,
Yeah. Okay.
and
Yeah, and I've been out that way
oh,
for
have you
fires
really?
too. Yeah,
Oh,
Prineville.
oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
So I live in Umatilla County, which is
Okay.
like we're up, or depending on where you're coming from, we're west of Pendleton,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
man, every single year there's always something going on, man. Like
Yep.
there's lots of work, 80-hour, 90-hour work weeks for a lot of the dudes
Oh yeah.
out there getting it in, brother.
Yeah, that yeah, it's no joke, man. I mean, there's Wildland was it was cool. It was like the first you know, hard physical labor job I think
Mhm.
I ever started. I mean, before I did that, I started that when I was 25, I think. Before that, I worked in the aviation industry for like
Okay.
12 years. Hard work there, but like Wildland was a game changer, you know.
Different. Yeah, those are that's like real man activities, you know.
Yeah, it was fun.
What did you do in aviation?
Man, I started working. I got interested in aviation when I was a kid, flying
Okay.
RC airplanes. That led
Sick.
to you know, figuring out how I could fly the real thing. And
Okay.
I remember I emailed some flying club and I was like, "Hey man, can I like wash your guys' planes or sweep a hangar just to be
Yeah.
around them?" And yeah, that like turned out to be this whole thing. I started at a flying club. I washed the airplanes in exchange for flight time. So I paid for all
Sick.
my flight training through
Okay.
washing and waxing the club's airplanes.
That's tight, dude.
When I yeah, I got my solo license, but the when I was 16, you could solo an airplane, but the day before, I had to get a medical and I found out I was red and green color blind, or they call it color
Gotcha.
deficient.
Okay.
So long story short there, that's why I'm not a pilot right now. That was kind of
Okay.
my first aspiration. But
Okay.
when I turned 18, I was old enough to jump on the fuel truck with them. I fueled general aviation for a couple years with that flying club. And then for the last 5 years before I left or came out to Colorado from San Diego, I was an avionics technician. So I did a
Okay.
lot of electronics wiring in airplanes, like everything from small experimental airplanes to like Falcons and Gulfstreams and
Okay.
you name it, like those, all the fun fancy
Yeah.
jets and stuff. But
Okay. Well,
yeah,
your car mods are all making sense now. You know, like every
right,
my I've got a sister that flies C-17s and a brother-in-law that's an F-22
nice,
pilot, and they've seen some stuff. You know,
yeah, yeah,
don't know that I don't know how me and my sister came from the same genetics, but we did.
yeah,
She-
yeah, man. That's family for you. It's crazy.
right? Yeah, yeah. She's out there. I mean, she's younger than me and was out there flying, and I was still trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. You know,
Yeah,
it's just how it
yep.
goes, I guess. Um, sorry, I've kept you up for. I know you've had a long work week, but
Yeah.
uh,
No, you're good, man.
I love just
Roll.
shooting the breeze. Yeah.
Yep.
Let me ask you real quick. I know you haven't got it yet, but you just recently upgraded your battery, and
Yeah.
I wanted to ask a little bit about that because I didn't know that you were running a fridge in the car. I didn't, you know, and I know that that was something that you decided to do after hearing me talk with Mitch.
Yep.
But what was kind of your thought process in doing that, and then what did you ultimately decide to go with?
Yeah. So, before I heard you guys' show, like I was telling when I was talking with Mitch that I was like, I put a lot of effort into making a clean install with all the switch panels that I have and all the lights and the equipment that I have on. I um, put in the effort to build a nice harness, make sure everything's properly terminated and
Hmm.
you know um, protected fuse wise and all that.
Yeah.
Um, Cleaning the terminals on my battery on a regular basis and all that, but I just never really gave it any thought into the fact that it's like, this is the stocked battery, that it's probably not meant to have all this stuff. I don't have, a lot of that stuff doesn't stay on at all times. Um, the fridge itself runs off of a portable battery that I keep in the car, a Jackery.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
I only charge the Jackery. Like I ran a separate 12-volt line off my switch panel that I can charge
Turn
the
on.
Jackery, which then from the Jackery goes to the fridge. So the Jackery itself is what's actually powering the fridge.
Okay.
So the
Gotcha.
car's only charging the portable battery when I need it.
Hmm.
Aside from all that, it's just an extra load. And I figured this is a lot of load to be putting on the stock battery. And I think it was last winter, I did run into a situation where I was parked outside, super cold temps, and I did run into a situation where I was um it almost didn't start. And at the
Oh
time
no.
I didn't have like, right now I carry a Noco
Hmm.
battery jumper with me as well as jumper cables.
Yeah.
Um at the time I didn't have any of that. So, and I was out of cell service and there was
dude.
nobody around and I was a ways out. So it would have been a bad deal.
Oh man.
That's the first time that it started to get on my mind about the battery. And I gotta say, when that podcast came out with Mitch, that's when the light bulb went off, and I was like, man, I need to be thinking. I didn't know about the class action lawsuit going on with the stock batteries. I honestly didn't hear. I hadn't heard anything about the stock batteries having issues, but just alone, I was like, this makes sense that this isn't the right technology, I think, for what I'm wanting to do with the vehicle. So
Yeah.
so yeah, we ended up getting the full throttle Group 35. What is that? The 750 FT 750.
I think I think the way they name their stuff is off the cold cranking amps. So I think it's FT
Okay.
750
That's right.
35. That, dude, I'm telling you, that battery and what they put on the label is real. It's not like, well, we tested this battery under perfect conditions and one time we got these numbers. It's like, no, it's all like virgin lead inside the thing.
Yeah.
Dude, I've beat mine within an inch of its life in terms of like the loads I've put on it with a massive winch. What you're running, you're going to be money and you're not going to have to clean terminals either. Like,
oh, really?
Dude, because they don't, there might be some situations where you might get a little corrosion.
Yeah.
But that all went away when I switched over to like a legit AGM battery because it's still got like an electrolyte solution, but it's in it's like a gel mixture. It's not like water. It's not sloshing around all the time. But dude, I'm not a battery expert, but I think my oldest one, I think is almost 5 years old. In a couple months, it'll be 5 years old. Never had a problem, man. Like, look, dude, I'm stoked for you to get it.
I'm stoked. It's like, man, that's one of those things I just, I'm almost kind of bummed at myself for even overlooking that, not really thinking about that because it just kind of falls in line with the rest of everything that I've done. Is just like, I want to prevent those issues in the past. And I did have issues with my Tacoma for doing the same thing. I killed the battery in that, and I should have learned from that because I did the same thing with the Forester, albeit a little bit cleaner than I did in Tacoma, but we had lights on it. We had a whole bunch of accessories and stuff, and that taxed its battery and it died on me.
Yeah.
So, it's like, man, why weren't you thinking about doing that from the get-go?
And you know what? There's only a small handful of us that have come to the conclusion that like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be running part store batteries or wet cell batteries, because even just the vibration from the roads that we're driving chatter up those lead plates inside, and you'll end up with a dead cell, lots of sulfation and all kinds of issues, man. And then
just absolute headache.
Leaks out and rusts out the frame rails, all that type of stuff. And I'm so glad I met Mitch because like I was thinking about, going with an Optima or whatever at one point. And then, now I've kind of realized like, oh, those aren't what they were back when I, first heard about them. And, dude, that full throttle battery, any of that stuff that they carry, like Full Throttle, Excess Power, Odyssey, Braille, all those companies, dude, they have a name to protect and they're not putting out junk,
and that it's good to know. It's good peace of mind. And I mean, I think that's like one of those things, bringing it up and hearing that in your guys' podcast, it's not a sexy upgrade,
Not
it's
at
not
all.
wheels, it's not a roof rack, it's not lights, it's something that just it's in the back burner, keeping you running so you can have lights and the freaking wheels and stuff, instead of dealing with jumping your car all the time. If you're running into that situation, if you're taking these things off road for long periods of time, you're going through dust, you're going through cold temperatures, especially crazy temperature swings, and adding extra load, especially if you're a lot of people I think will install some stuff, and I've been victim to it as well, is like, getting some parasitic draws on stuff that you didn't realize. That's just draining your battery. Maybe it doesn't kill it the first night, but a couple months down the road that it's just constantly draining that battery. You're going to run into issues,
100%, man.
Yeah.
I was super stoked when he hit me up and was like, hey, I really do want to sponsor the podcast. I was like, okay, let's do it, man. Like,
yeah, that's awesome, man.
And I just thought like, let's do a discount code so that people can actually, catch on at a lower price point and not get stuck out in the middle of the woods like I did.
Yeah, dude, and it's super awesome because like, kind of like some of these other companies, again, another shout out to ADF. I've freaking called them one time
hmm
about a completely unrelated thing. I was doing like I was doing a spring install on the Rally Tech stuff, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Hey man, I'm having some issues getting this top nut off because I don't have this Allen key to go in here." I was like,
Yeah.
and they just like helped me out. So
Yeah.
like having that personal connection, and these people are willing to give you the information. Like when I hit up Melee Design, Mitch like called me and he's like, "Hey
Yeah.
man, like I'd love to chat with what you got," and I'm like, "What? That's
Yeah.
sick, dude." Like
Yeah.
you wanna actually, like, hear what I've got going on so you can help me out the best that you can,
Yep.
you know, I mean, I'm like, "Sign me up, man." I love that stuff, dude, and a lot of these companies I've found through doing all this stuff with the Subaru, there's a lot of companies out there like that,
Yeah.
and man, I'll support that all day long. That's the coolest,
Same.
customer service. So,
Same.
yeah, talking to Mitch about that, especially right after your podcast, so hearing the whole story and then getting to hear him on the phone and stuff, I was like, "This is pretty cool, man."
Yeah. No, he hand delivered the first battery kit that I ever got from him. I got a what is it? I think it's like the 1200 series rally mount and then a
Okay.
full throttle FT 410 or something. That's what's in the Forester, and which is like half the size of what you got. So you're going to be golden.
I know, I was telling him, I was like, "Yeah, I don't expect you to come all the way out to Colorado," and he's like, "I got some friends out there." I was like, "Oh, man, dude, you're busy."
Well, he was probably out there for the recent. I think there's some rally event. I'm sure he was
The
out there
Colorado
for.
Rally.
Yeah, doing some
Yeah.
media work. Do you ever go to that?
I didn't. I was telling him that I've always wanted to go to a rally. Pikes Peak
hmm
hill climb happens every year around my birthday, and I've always said for my birthday I'm going to go see this. And most of the time it's for work. Work comes
Yeah,
up and
yeah.
or something or another. But man, I'm going to at some point for sure.
It's life changing. At least for
Yeah,
me as a car enthusiast. If you ever get the chance to go to a stage rally event, do whatever you got to do to make it happen.
yeah,
It's like I've never experienced any other motorsports event ever that comes close to
yeah.
stage rally. It's the sickest thing.
That's awesome.
and it,
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, following the Subaru's rally team, over the
yeah,
years, watching launch control and all that stuff,
yeah.
I'm just like, man, I need to get
Well,
out there.
and if it's an ARA event, you'll see those cars and those drivers there. Yeah, dude, it's
Yeah.
sick.
But even the
Super.
grassroots stuff, it's fun to see, like the
Yeah,
people out there that are just, trying to make the dream happen and,
yeah.
you
They're
know,
all they're all
run what
like,
you brung kind of thing.
yeah, yeah. Well, a lot of those dudes, like, because at a lot of pretty much all the ARA events, you've got like nationals and then regional teams. All those regional dudes, like they're like accountants, dentists, lawyers, whatever, that are just like, okay, I've kind of you know made this career for myself. Now I'm gonna go race. And
Yeah.
they're
Yep.
just a bunch of normal people just out there banging limiter.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we want to see. That's what the people want.
Dude, that is exactly what I want. Heck yeah. Okay, well we'll land the plane since I know we're like late where you're at. Um is there anything else that you want to talk about or anything that I might have missed that you think would be cool to talk about or mention?
Man, I think of a whole lot, man. It's cool I mean, I appreciate you having me on the podcast. It's pretty
Oh,
cool. It's like not
dude,
something I've ever done before in my
thanks for
life. So
coming. Yeah, man.
yeah,
Thank
you know, I think it's really cool to get this out there. And I think it seems like the popularity with getting Subarus off road and just off roading in general is, skyrocketed. Um
100%.
and I think a lot of the people that come on your show kind of say the same thing. Like, get out there, do it, use, run what you got right now.
Yeah.
Do some simple stuff like airing down your tires. Bring the safety equipment with you,
Yep.
what you can, extra water, food, do all that stuff. But get out there and explore, man. Like
Yes.
these cars are incredibly capable the way that they are. You don't need to have all the fancy stuff like I have on mine. It's just it can do it without it, right? Like
Yeah.
there's an aesthetic appeal to it for sure.
Yep.
And then there's a practical use to it as well.
It's very rare that I'll run into people in the community that are just like, F you, I don't want to talk. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
everybody's like, dude, come
Totally.
along with us. We don't care if you're stock. Like, let's roll,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and if there's anybody that like, reaches out to me, like the Instagram is like really the only thing that I think I'm on with the Subaru stuff. But
Okay.
it's super cool when people have questions and want to know about like what I've done with this or what I've done with that. Like I love that. Like that's my
Yeah.
favorite part about the whole Instagram game or whatever it is that we're all doing here. That part's cool, and getting
Yeah.
people taking the bringing that like veil of like, oh, this seems like, only you got to have this and that to get out there and go off road and see all these cool sights. And it's like, no, you just talk to some people, ask some questions, get out there, make some mistakes, break some
Yep.
stuff, fix it, do it again.
Exactly. Yep. Break it, build it better, and then go back out and do it again.
Exactly.
I love that. Well, dude, I'll let you, get some rest. But before we do that, where can people find you on social media?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram. The username is Silveru _ Offroad.
Sick. And let me just double check. Is there perfect? And it's 2 R's, 2 O's. There we go.
I think I tried to have just Silveru, I think it was, but it was like taken, and I was like, okay, cool. Throw another R or another O in there. Gotcha, Instagram.
Take that, Zuckerbot. And then, do you have any sponsors or affiliate deals or anything you can shout out?
I don't, man. None of
Out
that
here
stuff.
running it.
Yeah, I've got some like stickers on my cars, on the side of the Forester of companies that I just straight up dig and love the stuff they're doing.
That's tight.
Onyx Offroad, not sponsored. I think that is a absolute invaluable resource to people that want to get out, find trails.
Yeah.
They don't need to pay me to say that. That's just straight up. That is an amazing app.
I use it. I love it. It's not that expensive.
It's not, man.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of the guesswork out. So, you can, one, if you have you don't have any idea where to go, look up on there. I guarantee you there's something nearby. And then as you start to use it more, the best tool that they have is the build your route app tool. So you can just build some super long stuff, connect trails together.
Yep.
I mean, I've got like an entire list of things I still got to get out and do this summer that I've been building. But yeah, other than that, man, I just kind of do my thing, have fun with it, take lots of photos, try to share the story, and the trips that I'm on and cool things I learn along the way and stuff, and hope that people dig it.
Dude, I dig it. Dude, thanks so much for doing this, man. Like, I know we're going on 2 hours and 30 minutes, but man, I appreciate the heck out of it, dude. This was rad.
It's fun, man. We love it, and that's what it's all about, man.